'cause I'm aware with you is better than all alone. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, oh, tonight we're stars, but we'll fade away. Go on, light me up. Oh, go on, light me up while we're golden. Come on, light me up. Oh, come on, light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down. So before we come down, down, down. Go on, light me up. Oh, go on, light me up while we're golden. Come on, light me up. Oh, come on, light me up before we come down. Time ain't ever been on our side, so between now until we go home. Oh, 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 say what you're dying to say. No, oh, oh, tonight we're stars, but we'll fade away. Oh, go on, light me up. Oh, go on, light me up while we're golden. Come on, light me up. Oh, come on, light me up before we come down. Stars will always come down. So before we come down, down, down. Stars will always come down. Go on, light me up. Oh, go on, light me up while we're golden. Come on, light me up. Oh, come on, light me up before we come down. Go on, light me up. Oh, go on, light me up while we're golden. Come on, light me up. Oh, come on, light me up before we come down.
Hello everybody and welcome into race number 1 for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Series. Tonight we're back in the trucks, one of the series that we see through quite a few leagues rather. And tonight, first race here over at the Asphalt Outlaws Racing. And with that, these guys have gotten rolled off the grid. Let's go right down trackside and get started with your starting grid here for the night. Starting on pole at the season opener in Daytona, it's going to be Bill Hales. He'll have Dylan Potts to his outside in second, Andrew Hansley in third, Sammy Davis to his outside in fourth. And first race, so I apologize if I do get some of these names wrong, Kevin Winker in fifth, Evan Schilling to his outside in sixth. It's going to be Keith Prince and Braden Avila rounding out row number 4. Eric Hegdahl in ninth and Haas Beverly rounding out your top 10. Row 6, David Traylor and Clinton Woodby. Mark Beverly in 13th with Jesse Calloway in 14th. Isaac Smallwood will roll off 15th. It's going to be Rick LePage in 16th. Dennis Steele, John Shileno in row number 9, and Lance Thompson alongside Jesse Wise making up your top 20. Nicholas Lawrence will start 21st. Jonathan Herbert 22nd. Michael Miller and Tyler Beverly in row 12. Colton Hardy, Joe Yakes in row 13. It's going to be Michael Newman and Mike Wood Sr. in row 14th. Randy Gozy in 29th with Robert Dudley rounding out your top 30. Will Rainowell in 31st. TJ Allane in 32nd. Roger Strickland in 33rd with William George rounding out the field in 34th. Quick look at the race info here tonight. It's the winning beat 250 in the Craftsman Truck Series. Going to be 100 laps, 95% fuel, 5 tire sets, a stage brake on lap 25, 3 green-white checkers if we need them, and as always, it is fixed setups. Here we go, track temp, 92 degrees to start out. The season opener is underway at Daytona. Is out, big one over in turn number 1 to get this thing started. Doesn't look like it's actually going to be quite as many trucks as it initially looked like, but certainly caused a pile up. We got a couple trucks that may be using that one fast repair before they even got to see one lap complete, and one of those guys is going to be the 22 of Haas Beverly, one of the favorites coming into tonight, and on one of the top teams, of course, one of the series admins, Asphalt Outlaw Racing. Heavy damage to the 22. Suspension's broke. He's got no front end. He will immediately be taking it back to the pits for some repairs. Looks like David Traylor may have been the other truck involved. Let's go back this up, see exactly where this starts. It's going to be coming out of the tribal. Watch the 42. Actually, before we do that, let's go to the chopper view here and get a little bit of adjustment. And we're going to play this slow the first time around to see if we can see exactly where this all goes wrong. Maybe a little bit of a checkup on the inside. You see the 42 right there of Kevin Winker jump up. Now it's starting to cause a stack up on the outside. That's exactly what it is. So let's back it up before we talk about it again. Let's watch it in full speed here. This is how quick things can happen. This was right off the get-go. So the 42, third truck, top left of your screen. Keep an eye right here on Kevin Winker. It's not a big checkup. He just goes to go up. The guy behind him does check up, and then further back, the 18 with nowhere to go. Quickly down to the inside, and then you see Haas Beverly and company piling in. That was Evan Schilling, the other truck that got the worst of it right there in the 18. And I think Evan was actually the one that had to kind of check up here when he saw this. Didn't want to run in, or excuse me, the 14 actually checks up, and then Evan Schilling back in the 18 was the one that kind of had to check up for that. And ultimately, though, the 14, he doesn't get turned. It's the 18, gets down into the 11, and then there's David Traylor and Haas Beverly both going back up into the outside safer barrier. Down on the inside, looks like the 4 truck goes for a spin as well. But the worst damage from all of this, not so much to Jesse Calloway, but definitely Haas Beverly and David Traylor. You saw Traylor was able to get back rolling. Haas Beverly not so lucky. Let's take a couple more looks at this one right here. First view from TV2. And this is just, I mean, the 42 again jumping up. He's fine. He's clear. Just not really sure exactly why the 14 checks up right there. Maybe he saw something we didn't. That is Sammy Davis. And we'll go on board here actually with Sammy. When we talk about, you know, it's a lot easier to say here on broadcast than it is in the cockpit of the truck. But, man, again, like I said, watch. You'll see Kevin Winker on the inside. He's going to get a little bit of a run right here. He says, I want up. Take the lead. He does. And, yeah, that's all it is. Sammy Davis bails out of the throttle. Doesn't want to risk anything, but fortunately causes a checkup out back and ultimately leads to an early demise for a couple of these guys. Oh, man, David Traylor looks like almost got flipped over further back. This couple guys came piling in late. Take 2 more looks at this. First one from the spotter stand. And we saw it from the wall cam initially. The back view will show you how lucky it was that there wasn't more trucks in this as the 11 and the 18 go spinning to the inside. But there was the hit for David Traylor and Haas Beverly. It did a little more damage than you would have expected to the 22 truck. He goes back to the inside. There's the big late hit for David Traylor as some of these guys with just nowhere to go trying to find a way through it. Sometimes the C's part, sometimes they don't. Watch this hit one more time right here for David Traylor. Yeah, it's just a couple of guys getting on the brakes a little bit too late right there. Looks like it might have been the 40 and the 43, Mike Wood Sr. And in the 40 truck was Randy Gozy. So nonetheless, your first caution of the night flies with less than half a lap complete here at Daytona. We've now been under caution for 2 more of them, make it 3 of 100 down. Up front, it's the 53 of Bill Hales. Just behind him, Dylan Paz in the number 99 truck. Behind him, the 29 of Andrew Hansley. And speaking of Andrew, he is one of our drivers with an onboard cam, and I think now's a good time to go check out the rest of the crew that we have carrying onboards for us here tonight. And so we will indeed start with Andrew Hansley in the 29 machine here tonight. I believe that might have been a new paint scheme. I'm not sure if he was having some issues with it or not earlier. But Andrew, not sure if this is his first season, but looking strong early. Put down a pretty good qualifying effort. No positions gained or lost at the moment. Continues to run in that podium spot. Moving on to our second driver cam of the night. Going back a little bit further, we'll actually jump back and forth here. David Traylor, who we saw involved in that last wreck. We'll get a couple onboard rides from the 54 as he's going to have to make a charge back through the field, especially if he wants some stage points. We talked about the stage being at lap 25. That's not that long from now. These guys are going to have about 21 laps from when we go back green before we get that next caution for a stage break. And there's not going to be any pit stops from here to the stage, but if we get another caution, then maybe you try to mix up the strategy just a little bit. We'll have to see how everybody decides to play it. Jesse Wise, you got to expect a good run out of this driver. Saw him in the clash last week. Doing pretty good. Looks like he got a new scheme on the truck. And here tonight, we'll see what can he do. Looking for the first win of the season, as is everybody else. Jesse Wise, our third of 4 drivers carrying an onboard camera. And the last, but certainly not least, is Mr. Michael Newman, one of the independent drivers out of La Crosse. And there you go. He's going to be starting all the way back in the 24th position. He's already made up 3 spots from where he started, though. And he's going to have to continue to charge here. You kind of have 2 strategies. You either go for the stage or you flip the track position for the end of the race. If you're going for the stage, you got to get to the front right now. It's go time. You're only going to have, like we said, about 21 laps here as we take the green again. However, if you're not too concerned about the stage, you want to set yourself up for the end of this race, then I think maybe you play it conservative, stay in the back, maybe even try some strategy and bring it to the pits a lap or 2 before we take the stage break. And again, I can tell you that pit road does close with 2 laps to go, so these guys would actually have to go in coming to 2 laps to go. We'll see what kind of strategies we see as further back. We saw David Traylor be able to get back out and roll, and Haas Beverly did as well, but he did have to use the fast repair. So the 22, keep an eye. We'll see if he decides to make a charge to the front or sit further towards the back here for a little bit as he tries to let things simmer down just a little bit. Well, we already had the inaugural start, but I don't think it counted. We're going to try this again. Crank it up style. The pace truck pulls off back into the Geico restart zone. Field in the hands of Bill Hales. Green flag back in the air at Daytona. As they come through to complete lap 1 officially under green, it's the 3 of Keith Prince with a charge. We saw him as a rookie in the Noma Truck Series. First time I got a chance to look at Keith, boy, has he grown since then. I knew he ran in some of these other leagues, and he is showing a lot of muscle here early. Keep an eye on the outside, though, the 42 and the 53. That is a tandem right now that we're seeing working on the outside. They're going to get back even here with Keith Prince pretty quickly, but don't count out Dylan Paz. He's giving a big push to Keith Prince, and as much momentum as the outside rolls, they're not going to have enough into turn 3. They will stay side by side, and every time that you get side by side, that's where you have to start to keep an eye on those temps. Now, we didn't talk too much about track temp right off the get-go, but you see it, 89 degrees. It's not that hot, and in fact, sim time right now, it's about 346, so that track temp could cool down even more as this race goes on. And remember, a cooler track temp is going to give the advantage to that inside. Not the case right here. How about up front, the 53 of Bill Hills and the 42 of Kevin Winker, able to get get clear. Kevin Winker, maybe some would say the spark of that last caution, nothing intentional, nothing malicious, but quickly was able to wipe it from his memory, and right back to the front he goes to the inside. I think that's where you're going to see most people trying to kind of sit for a little while. Again, this is a 100-lap race, 250 miles around Daytona. It's a long way to go, and again, we already saw that first lap wreck. A lot of guys trying to get the jitters out. I know you want to race, but you got to keep your truck clean. About the 21 here of Lance Thompson. That's another one of the Asphalt Outlaw Racing drivers. He is trying to give a push right now to Isaac Smallwood, doing anything he can to try to get him up there. Actually, Isaac Smallwood on the outside trying to give a push to the 25 here of Braden Avila. And they're going to get a little bit more help as jumping to the outside now. It's going to be the 13 of Mark Beverly. Saw how much strength Mark had last week in the Clash. Looking to build on that here tonight. And you know everybody's working on going for the championship. We'll be talking about points throughout the season. But Daytona's its own separate kind of event to a degree. Similar to a championship, it's one of those things that everybody has on their calendar. You want to win it. Everybody going to have the chance to tonight. And already going to drop out of the pack here a little bit as That'll cause a checkup 3 wide. Can everybody hold on? They do. Looked like that was the 14. Now the 8 gets onto the apron along with the 88 of Jonathan Herbert. Everybody saves it, but that was another quick hold your breath moment here on lap number 8. And so back up front we go. Bill Hales still leading, but Mark Beverly, him and the 25 of Braden Avila, they have gotten locked up, starting to make progress. Kevin Winker sees that, and he quickly jumps to the outside, going to try to block this run, take it all the way to the front. That'll move Keith Prince to the lead pusher on the inside. The 99 of Dylan Paz right now. He's got a chance to cool the temps a little bit. We saw how aggressive he had to push earlier. Then Andrew Hansley just hanging back a little bit. As long as you're not one of those first 3 trucks in line, you don't really have to worry about sticking too close to the truck in front of you. But that outside really rolled down the back straightaway. Mark Beverly trying to get the 42 clear. Not going to be able to do it as Bill Hales, another one of the Asphalt Outlaw Racing drivers, continues to lead. He might get it here at the line. And speaking of the line, as they cross this time, it is going to be 16 laps to go until the end of stage number 1. No more strategy. Everybody still relatively close together, although that checkup did create somewhat of 2 packs here, if you will. And taking a look at this right here, it looks like it is Mike Wood Sr. that is leading this second pack at the moment. The driver out of Steubenville in the 43 machine on the outside. We'll see if he drops low. Now the problem for these guys is they're not within draft range of the leaders. They're about 2.1 seconds back. You got to get it down to 1.5 seconds if you want to be able to pull enough of a draft to catch the leaders. And the more action they continue to kind of dice it up back here. As you see the move to the inside right there, they're going to ditch Mike Wood Sr. That was Nicholas Lawrence jumping to the inside with Eric Hegdahl. And by doing this, it should hopefully help them get lined up. But you see, that's exactly what they're trying to do. I was just getting ready to say, the longer you go 2x2, the harder it's going to be to catch that lead pack. You always run faster single file than you do 2 wide. But right now, it has fallen back to 2.6 seconds. So they've still got about a second that they're going to have to make up as they continue to get singled out. And then all the way at the back right now, it's David Traylor. Not sure if he's still got a little damage or this was something to do with trying to catch the field under caution from the last incident that he was involved in. But yeah, the 54 right now seems to be a little underpowered as he works his way through the banking in turns 1 and 2. He is going to need a caution, and he'll get one here in just about 15 laps. Question is, can he make it to that point? Still 2x2 up front. The outside starting to roll again here with Kevin Winker and the 25 of Braden Avila. Braden has been pushing hard on the 42 for a while. You saw Mark Beverly was finally able to get clear of Bill Hales. They were able to get him down to the bottom. So that did help the temps temporarily on the outside, and they're going to get a little bit more help. Maybe no. I thought the 42 of Winker would get clear. He was not quite able to do it, so he will fall back. And this is how it works at Daytona. We know that we see the pack racing. We talk about drafting, the tandem. Pushing is the name of the game, and when you go through the turn, we know the inside's going to get the advantage. Everybody stays close, but once you get down the straightaway, that outside, they really start to get wound up. They get the run, and there you go, the 42 of Kevin Winker. He gets clear. For the moment, though, he's choosing not to drop down. He likes the feel of Braden Avila on his bumper right now, not giving him any sort of a bad push. And, in fact, just about everybody in this lead pack, which has shrunk even more all of a sudden here, everybody looking nice and comfortable. This lead pack, by the way, goes all the way back 19 trucks deep. And then still, it's Eric Hegdahl leading that second group. The gap continues to fade. And so now what was 2.6 seconds is all the way back to 3.2 seconds. And if this lead pack can't get to pushing a little bit harder, then they are going to be in danger here of potentially going a lap down. I think they'll be okay until we get to the stage break, but certainly not the position they wanted to be in here if you were somebody wanting to go for stage points. Andrew Hansley in the 29 going to fall back here. Maybe didn't like what he was seeing. And as he jumps to the apron, this is going to be interesting. He might actually act as a bridge for the leaders here. And if we take a look at that gap, it's 3.9 seconds and extending. But we'll see if Andrew Hansley can't quite hold on to this lead pack. He might fall back to the second pack, or exactly what he's doing now. Go to the blimp cam to represent this a little bit more here. Is as he stays right about in the middle, and this ain't doing it enough justice. How about if we go to the spotter view? But there you go. You see how he's sitting kind of in the middle of these two groups? And if he gets within a perfect range, probably right about 1.5 seconds behind the leaders and 1.5 seconds still ahead of this pack, then he acts as a bridge that helps pull this second draft up to him. Once they catch him, they'll push him, and all of a sudden, they very well might catch the leaders. However, the gap continues to extend over 4 seconds now with 14 laps complete. The rest of the guys in this lead pack, nobody looking to make a move. We have yet to see 3 wide up to this point tonight. But there's Will Rainwell in the 17 machine, and one of the drivers on Southpaw Racing. I believe they only had 2 or 3 guys in the actual race tonight. So when he finds his teammates, they're going to be far and few between. His yellow flag is in the air. You got to wonder, was it something in this second pack? It sure enough was. One in the wall. It's the 88 of Jonathan Herbert. That's coming into the trial. He'll keep it up there until everybody gets by, brings it to a halt, and he'll be able to get his Chevy Silverado turned around and going back in the right direction. Doesn't look like he's got too much damage yet. Maybe a little bit on the right front, definitely some on the left rear. And so this will bring us now to under 10 laps to go for the stage. But before we talk about that, see if we can't debacle what exactly happens here. So coming off turn 4, you see the 88 right there, bottom about 6 trucks deep on the inside. And is he going to try to jump up here? That's my guess. Yeah, it's exactly what he tries to do, just not clear. He's trying to get right up just in front of the 45. We talked about this pack trying to make progress. They weren't doing anything single file, so I think they decided maybe it was time to go back to try and double file, race for the lead, and Tyler Beverly, he's there. And as the 88 goes up, nothing he can do. Contact hooks him right into the outside wall, and ooh, that's a pretty good shot to the outside safer barrier for Jonathan Herbert. That might be a fast repair. Now once he does get hooked, he's able to keep it in the outside wall. Does a nice job there so that nobody else gets involved. I don't think the damage was too bad for Tyler Beverly, but here's a ride on board. So I think the 88, he saw that he was getting a run, and I'm not sure if he meant to jump up, but as I said, when he did, there was just nothing that could be done. So we go take a look here from the chopper view. I think there may have been a little bit of netcode involved in this, but they were going to make contact either way. Yeah, you see the 880s just getting really up the track. May have gotten a little tight. These trucks have a tendency to wash up off the corners as it unloads. And man, this was a close call for some of these guys. How about jumping to the inside right there, the 4 of Jesse Calloway. We saw involved in that last wreck, but not this time. He was able to miss this one. Does a great job at it. We'll take 2 more looks at this one. One from the TV static cam. And then one more here from TV2. Should we go back to TV3? And there's the shot for the 88. Yeah, it was definitely in that right front. And you get damage on these trucks whenever we come to any of these very aero-dependent tracks, Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta. You really need to make sure that that truck is extra clean to have speed, especially if you're leading in a draft. However, he might be able to get away with that damage just fixing it optionally as long as he stays in the draft, but that truck is not going to have speed out in front, at least unless he uses his fast repair. Speaking of up front, as we head there now, it's Kevin Winker with the lead, up 4 in total from where he started this race at. Mark Beverly, he is up 11 positions as well, currently sitting in that second spot. Braden Avila back in third with Bill Hells in fourth. Isaac Smallwood rounding edge top 5. It's Keith Prince in sixth. Lance Thompson back in seventh. Michael Miller in eighth, up 15 from where he started. And then Will Rainwell, he is up 22 positions. Roger Strickland rounding out your top 10, and he is also up 23 positions as well in the 52 machine. Taking a look at the general split in the field here tonight. And it's as kind of expected, mostly Chevys. A lot of the iRacing guys are Chevy fans, but you got a Ford in second right now with Mark Beverly, and then you got to go all the way back to 10th to find that first Toyota Tundra. A couple more Toyotas and Fords in the field, but definitely dominated by the Chevy manufacturer. We'll see if they can capture their first win here at Daytona tonight. And so as the pace chart comes around, we should get the one-to-go signal this time. We are going to take our first break of the night. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us at Daytona. Welcome back to the Winning Big 250, the season opener here for Asphalt Outlaws Racing. So glad to be hopping on board with these guys for the season. We've got a lot of good stuff coming in the near future, and next week we'll talk about where we head and the rest of the season after that. But as we talk about the World Center of Racing, one of the bucket list races that everybody wants to win when it comes to iRacing, and man, oh man, what if they could get the job done here tonight. And right now, if you're Mark Beverly or Kevin Winker, I feel like you got to think you've got just about as good of a chance as anybody. Battle of kind of two different strategies. Winker's been at the front most of the race. Beverly came to the front, and now they both find themselves leading here at Daytona. Back into the restart zone we go. 19 laps complete, 7 to go in the stage. Green flag back in the air. It's a pretty good jump for both lanes. The outside looking like it's going to start to roll just a little bit more. Bill Hales locked up, but on the bottom, a little bit more organization now as Braden Avila quickly to the back bumper of Mark Beverly. They're also going to get help here from Isaac Smallwood. As they enter onto the Daytona Super Stretch, that's where the outside surges. Take a look from the spotter view. Watches Bill Hills, gets locked on to Kevin Winker. If Keith Prince can get there, they'll have a big surge as they do. The 25 trying to react. He's a little late to the bumper. Big run by Kevin Winker. He's going to try to get clear to turn number 3, and he is going to do just that, not dropping to the bottom yet. Bill Hills has to quickly bail out. And that was a prime example of what not to do, at least this early in the race, and that is push in the corner. You can do it in these trucks, especially on fixed setups. Everybody pretty equal. But, man, you've got to be so center. If you get just slightly offset, it's really easy to turn that guy around in front of you. So I think at this point in the race, just kind of arrow push through the corners. Now, when you get on the straights, you certainly got to get up there and try to muster the guy in front by getting on his bumper and pushing him to the lead. But right now, not much pushing in the corners doing. Mark Beverly is going to reclaim the lead on the inside as we go further back. Let's take a ride on board with one of these guys and break down the speeds that they run here at a track like Daytona International Speedway. Here we go. This is Will Raynoel, and he's going about 190 miles an hour as they enter turn 3 before they climb the over 31 degrees of banking. And that is the reason these guys are able to stay full throttle. Again, 2.5 miles in length is the Daytona Super Speedway. And so far tonight, it has been shown why it is the favorite track of a lot of drivers, and at the same time, the least favorite track of a lot of drivers. You see a ton of great racing. We see exciting finishes. But the other thing that I think we're probably going to see at some point tonight is the big one, the most dreaded thing of any super speedway race for any of these guys. And you know it's going to strike at some point. Question becomes, do we see it early or do we see it late? We've seen a couple smaller wrecks here early on, but nothing too big. And right now, everybody's still looking pretty clean for the most part. Kevin Winker with another shove. And when we cross the line this time, it'll be 4 laps to go in the stage. And if I'm Winker, I think you got to start thinking about dropping down if you get clear. But he's got something figured out in that 42 machine that we don't. He must like the way the top feels better. And I'm telling you, coming through the tribal here, it's not like Talladega. That start-finish line is in the tribal. And with the banking, I think you have the advantage if you're on the inside. If this was the stage break, though, it would have went to Kevin Winker, so he'll continue to roll on the outside. Further back, keep talking about it. If you want to go to the front and you want stage points, now is going to be when you have to start going there. You're running out of laps. Further back, though, as we take a look at the track map, we're getting some separation between a couple of these packs. Here you go, David Traylor, Rick LePage, Randy Gosey, and a couple others. Looks like Dylan Paz and Jonathan Herbert. They have fallen off the leaders here. I'm not sure if this was by design or unintentionally, but they're going to have to wait for this stage break caution here in just a few laps. There's the 18 of Evan Schilling. Michael Newman just in front of him. He's got Sammy Davis not too far behind. The 51 will go around. There's Haas Beverly in the 22. Now, if we were to get a caution at this point, this would end the stage, and I think it'd be whoever was out in front. But instead, we are going to see a move jumping to the outside. There goes Braden Avila. He's going to get some help from Isaac Smallwood. What a pass through the tribal. The 25 will get clear. He's trying to pull the help that got him there, and he's going to do just that. Winker, though, quickly with a counter strike. He drops to the inside. Not enough. Isaac Smallwood was able to jump down to defend as well. All the moves start to be made. We're seeing a lot of slicing and dicing. The 53 of Bill Hells. He leads up top, but he's got no help. Now Kevin Winker, he'll jump right back up there. The 42 wants to lead yet again. And just behind him, Mark Beverly in the 13. We saw him lead the inside for a while. Now it's his turn to push. When they cross the line, they'll be coming to 2 laps to go in stage 1 this time. And out of turn 4, Kevin Winker with another good run. Now the pushing's going to start to pick up. Do we see a third lane? We're going to get a couple of peaks here. First man to jump out is Will Rainwell in the 17. Nobody going to go with him. The 77 of Michael Miller, he'll stay low. And without any help, that 17 might drop all the way back. Bill Hales looked like he thought about going up, maybe just trying to block the run. And all of a sudden, this is going to put Keith Prince in an awkward spot, middle of 3 wide, as we have one crash further back. Looks like it's Rick LePage. More contact here. The 40 is involved as well. Looks like no caution for the moment. We stay green. The 24 of Rick LePage gets back rolling. The other truck involved, as we noted, the 40 of Randy Gosey. We'll go back and take a look at that in just a moment. But back up front, they will be coming to the white flag in stage number 1 this time. The 25 still the lead pusher, but that third lane, they're going to get formed up this time. The 17 of Will Rainwell back up top, trying to make something work, and he started to get a little bit of help. Looks like the 92 of Clinton Woodby. He is going to try to go out there and make something work. White flag in the air. Caution is out. And so I think that actually meant that the stage itself ended on 25. Thought these guys would end it at the end of 25. And so with that, it will be Kevin Winker as your stage 1 winner here at Daytona. As everybody gets cooled down, before we talk a little bit more about Kevin, let's go back and take a look at this wreck. Again, I don't think that caution was for this wreck. We didn't see it. Could have been, but ooh. This was that pack that I thought was maybe playing it safe. We couldn't tell if they dropped back intentionally or by accident, but must not have been playing it too safe as they get in a mix-up right here. Watch from the chopper view first. On the outside, the 40 of Gosey just starts creeping down. Wow, that is some pretty darn significant netcode between those two trucks. Some people get mad when I say that, but I mean, you can see that for yourself. They get a little closer, but they're not going to touch. I mean, he's just coming up, and there's probably about a foot or two still between those trucks. And it just hooks the 24 right up the track. Nowhere to go. He makes contact coming into the tribal, which we've seen a couple wrecks at tonight already. And then there's the 40 of Randy Gosey. Makes some more contact. He's going to spin down the track right here and make even more contact with the 24. They both go for a slide across the Daytona logo. 24 comes back up on track, but I think he's able to stay just far enough below that double yellow line that's why it didn't draw the caution. Then you saw the big shot right there for Randy Gosey into the inside pit wall. That's concrete, so that'll do a lot more damage, but he was able to get back rolling here. Let's go take one more look at this one. back this up and actually show you what it looks like here from the onboard when you get these net codes. So he's going to come down and either try to tuck in behind or get a little bit of side draft. Now, the 24 may be slightly coming up, and I definitely agree that Randy Gosey was slightly coming down. So at the end of the day, a little bit of just hard racing, but there was still some gap between those trucks when he got turned, and then at this point, there's nothing you can do except try to steer out of it as a driver, and this thing's not over yet. Boom, there's the hit, 43. Doesn't quite lock it down. He lets it roll, and unfortunately, it's going to roll all the way back, and bam, there's the hit into the inside pit wall as he comes to a stop just on the outside of Keith Prince's box. And so as we go back live up front, we talked about Kevin Winker, your Stage 1 winner. He's going to get a couple extra points. Bill Hell's back in second. Mark Beverly in third. Braden Avila in fourth. And again, some of these spots are mixed up now that they're on the pits. The main thing for now is that Kevin Winker was your stage winner. In fact, we can go back here and see your top three at the line. As again, we didn't realize right at the time that was the caution. I thought they'd throw it on the end of 25. And here you go. They were dicing it up, but at the end, there was just no move. All the help right now is on the outside. Mark Beverly starting to get a run back on the inside with help from Braden Avila, but it's just not enough time. And as they cross the line, you saw the 42. He takes it by about a truck length. Just mind him, the drag race was for second. Bill Hell's Mark Beverly, I cannot tell. It is so, so close. It might have been Bill. I can't tell. The other one who didn't get it, though, will be your third place finisher. And with that, as we go back live, before we go back green here, Kevin Winker, I believe he's one of the independent drivers running tonight. I don't think he's got any sort of team with him. Michael Newman may be the only driver he's working with. So let's see if we can get a quick word here with the driver of the 42. Hey, Kevin, this is Austin up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, you're the Stage 1 winner, man. You have a good run up to this point, but doesn't look like you got a ton of team help here tonight. How'd you keep it up front through the first 25 laps?
Yeah, my only guy he's not really a teammate, but Michael Newman, he's at the back. But I know Mark and Bill work together well, so I was trying to keep them separated, but also working at the same time. So I was trying to do that, and then Mark got a run there coming to the stage when I don't know if he missed time or what, but I thought he was going to get it, and then Bill just kind of sucked right up at me, gave me the push I needed to get across there. But yeah, got the first stage win of the season, so hope we can fish out victory lane tonight.
Yeah, and speaking of that here, stage break kind of makes it two races, right? We have the short stint, the first 25 laps, but now we're going to get a run that's almost triple that length, expecting a green flag stop. How does this change the mindset? Do you try to continue to stay up front, or do you maybe fade back for a little bit and ride a couple laps off?
I mean, it depends on, what kind of driver you are. I know me personally, I like being up front. I know you probably see me in those money races. I like to be up front, kind of control. You can control more. I don't like being at the back, but I guess it's always driver preference. So we'll see if we can. Hopefully, we can get some green flag stops in to be just a nice strategy. But there's gonna be a big one sooner or later, so it's just a matter of time when that's gonna happen. All
right, well, Winker Nation is out watching, rooting you on. Good stage win and good luck the rest of the way. We'll see if we're talking to you in victory lane.
Thank you.
Here you go. He said Michael Newman, not necessarily a teammate, but working together. And as he noted, yeah, I have seen Kevin in some of the money races before, and I don't care what anyone says, man. You go run a super speedway race in money racing, and that will give you the most experience by a mile you will ever need at these super speedways. Had a phenomenal event last night in the PGR Thursday night heat series, well, what is now PGR Esports. And here tonight, it's been a good race so far as we continue to tick off the time here in sim time. So as we take another look at the weather, track temps cooled down by a degree. But looking at sim time, looks like it is now about 4 o'clock, just a little bit over, 4:10 if you will, as these guys will get ready to take the green flag. Lights are off as they double file back up. Kevin Winker will lead them back to green. Braden Avila on the outside in second. Bill Hills in third with Will Rainowell back in fourth. Mark Beverly in fifth. Clinton Woodby in sixth. Keith Prince in seventh. Isaac Smallwood in eighth. Dennis Steele in ninth. Michael Miller currently rounding out your top 10. Some of the drivers that we had with driver cams, we saw to the front earlier. A couple of them faded to the back here just a little bit right now. And in fact, Andrew Hansley, we saw really close to the front. Not sure what's going on for the driver, the 29, but he is down 25 positions in total from where he started this race at. So yeah, he's going to have his hands full as he has to make his way back to the front. David Traylor, who we saw involved in an earlier accident, he has made a bit of a recovery here. He's got a little bit closer to the front, but he's still got a lot of work to do as he sits in 25th at the moment. Don't count David out there just yet. We've seen how much experience he gets over in the NOMA Truck Series, trying to bring it over here. Jesse Wise, good run for him overall for the night up to this point. We saw the 4 truck of Jesse Calloway involved in that first lap wreck. Made a good recovery as well. Green flag is back in the air. 29 laps complete at Daytona. 81 to go. Here we go. Right away, Kevin Winker quickly going to jump to the outside. As I meant to say 71 to go, I apologize. And as he jumps to the outside, that'll help pull Braden Avila right up to his back bumper. The inside, though, just no help. And right now, if you're the 17 of Will Rainowell, you are wondering, where's everybody at? The 13 of Mark Beverly is awaiting help from Keith Prince. And they're finally going to get stacked up. But this outside was able to get so much momentum and get rolling so quick. They're going to clear at least one, maybe two trucks. And now, what do you do here if you're the 25 of Avila? Do you jump to the inside of Winker into 3, or do you stay on his back bumper? No move yet from the 25. It looks like he is going to stay nice and committed. Winker said it kind of depends, but right now it looks like he is nice and comfortable up front. He is going to continue on that route. The 92 quickly jumped to the outside. That's Clinton Woodby looking to see if he would draw any help. He doesn't, so he drops right back down in front of Isaac Smallwood. How about on the inside, Dennis Steele in the Jacksonville Jaguars paint scheme? His Chevy Silverado, he's up a couple spots from where he started this race. In fact, make it up 8. Robert Dudley as well. We see him over in the Noma Truck Series. He's up 20 positions from where he started, but still 2x2. This time, though, no separation of packs just yet. The only separation, I would say, is really back here right around the 51 of TJ Allane. Behind him, the 18 of Jesse Wise. Slipping back just a little bit for the moment. We talked about Jesse, one of our guys with an onboard cam. Let's actually hop on the cockpit view here for a moment. And right now, he is doing all he needs to do. And you're in the middle of a pack like this, if you got some room to give yourself, you might as well do it. Nothing going. And this also gives him an option where if he wants to go, he can set up the run, pull a big draft off the back bumper of the truck in front. When he gets there, take a look either to the middle or to the outside. And nothing doing yet. We'll see, does he take it? No, he's just going to bail off. Doesn't want to try to split Jonathan Herbert, at least not yet. And as we go back, again, I ran in the class with these guys just to get a little bit of a feel for how they run last week. And I think the biggest thing I noticed is that it's really hard to kind of get that third lane working, whether you want to do it in the middle or the outside, because the general line that these guys run on the outside is they kind of get into the corner right around in the middle. They arc up to the top, and then they get down to the middle again. So it's kind of hard to set it up. You're afraid if you go up that somebody's going to either come up into you, and then you're afraid if you go to the middle, you're going to get sandwiched. So right now, nobody wants to really kind of take that risk. We still got a long ways to go in this race. In fact, 70 going to be 69 laps as we cross the line this time. So just take your time, be patient. The 92 of Clinton Woodby quickly was able to get back up to the lead pusher on that outside line. Bill Hales on the inside, probably looking for a couple teammates right now, but instead he continues to work with Braden Avila, who has had a phenomenal night up to this point. Let's take a running order through your field. All the way at the back right now, it's Randy Gosey, who we saw involved in that last wreck. I don't think he was able to use a fast pair. As you saw, the left side is a little banged up. Mark Beverly right now back in the 33rd position in the 13. Yeah, he fell way back. Dropped out of this pack. You got to wonder if he's either trying to save some fuel or, again, just didn't like what he saw at the front and wanted to get as far away from it as possible. Got to be careful that you don't lose the draft, though. Andrew Hansley and Sammy Davis, 2 trucks right now drafting together. They're just on the tail end of this lead pack by about half a second. They're a second within drafting range. Dylan Paws back in 30th alongside Rick LePage in 29th. David Traylor in 28th. Tyler Beverly 27th. Evan Schilling in 26th. TJ Allane in 25th. Haas Beverly in 24th. It's William George right now in 23rd. Actually, Haas Beverly is going to take that spot, move George back to 24th. Nicholas Lawrence in 22nd. Michael Newman in 21st. Jesse Wise in 20th with Mike Wood Sr. in 19th. Colton Hardy in 18th. John Shileno in 16th. He's actually going to pick up that spot. So Jonathan Herbert falls to 17th. Jesse Calloway up in 15th. Dennis Steele in 14th. Joe Yakes in 13th. Roger Strickland in 12th. Robert Dudley 11th. Lance Thompson in 9th. And throw everybody else inside the top 10 under a blanket up front. It is still side by side as it's been all night. We really haven't seen anybody get lined up and get single file up to this point. Now, I think I should make it a point that we're going to have a green flag pit stop at some point. These trucks on 100% fuel can make it, I'd say, probably right around 30 to 32 laps, depending on if you're leading or back in the draft where you can save some fuel. So with that being the case, as it stands right now, we went back green with just over 70 laps to go. And so you take a look at that, and I would say probably, I'm trying to think here, these guys can, and we know they can make it probably not quite halfway. I was trying to think if anybody could make it to 35. I don't see it happening. I mean, we talked about 32. If you save a lot of fuel, maybe you stretch it to 33. If you're really lucky, 34. But to get to 35 when everybody else has to pit earlier anyway, I just don't see it being the right call. And so with that being the case, that would mean we're going to expect 2 green flag stops potentially, unless, of course, we see a caution. But that first green flag stop, I think you try to run it out the entire way, and we might see pit stops, I'm going to say maybe right around, maybe closer to lap 40, maybe a little bit after that, maybe in the 50s even. I think that's when you run it out. So we'll have to see. There's still a lot of strategy play to go for the rest of this race, and I don't know who to call right now. If you have a pick, put him in the chat. Clinton Woodby has certainly been a good pick here in the last 5 laps as he now takes the lead on the inside. But we've seen how strong Kevin Winker's been all night on the outside. Now, though, he's going to have to settle for second. And lead pusher Bill Hells jumps up looking for a move. And this is how the super speedways work. There's not a lot of passing further back at a time like this. It's just both lanes continuing to get different surges of momentum. You take a run when you've got it. If you're anywhere close to the front, it's further back. Close call. Oh, my goodness. The 88 of Jonathan Herbert got down the track and almost got into the 4. I believe that was Jesse Calloway. Oh my goodness. This was so close. Keep an eye. Right here, we'll go to the spotter view. The 88 just starts coming down. I'm not sure if he thought he was clear. He does make contact with the right rear of the 4. I don't know how Calloway was able to drive out of that. That was a heck of a save and a heck of a close call. I think those two are going to maybe give each other a little bit more separation now as they don't want a repeat of that. So Bill Hells, you saw him get clear. We talked about him dropping back down to the bottom. Further back, though, still nobody thinking about taking it 3 wide at this point. The single file line, though, has extended here a little bit. Haas Beverly has made up some positions since he was involved in that first lap wreck, which he had to use his fast spare. He is now back up to 23rd. And so it's going to be 38 laps complete when they cross the line this next time. Bill Hells leads Isaac Smallwood in second and Michael Miller in third. We are going to take our second commercial break of the night. Well, hold your horses for just a minute. Things starting to get dicey at the front. We'll hold off on that for a couple more laps as Kevin Winker drops back down to the bottom, back to the top. Big check up to 5 has to get out of it. The 11 of Eric Hegdahl had to get out of the throttle heavy as well. Man, when you see a check up at the front that big, it usually translates somewhere towards the back of the field and ultimately leads to a wreck. Didn't happen this time. And now we are going to have another lead change as up front on the inside, Michael Miller going to be looking to lead his first lap of the night. The 5 of Isaac Smallwood, we talked about moving up to that lead pushing position. And the 92, who we saw up front just a couple laps ago, Clinton Woodby, has already fallen back to third on the inside. 21 of Lance Thompson, another one of the Asphalt Outlaw Racing drivers that's been having a pretty good night up to this point. But again, we're not even halfway through this race. All right, we're going to be coming up on lap 40 here in just a couple laps. Still expecting at least 1, most likely 2 green flag pit stops, unless, of course, you find a way to save some fuel. And in fact, we're going to see if we can hop on board with one of these guys a little bit further to the back and see if we can hear any fuel save. And I'll explain this a little bit. So the draft, we know how it works here at these super speedways. Oh, turn! One around, it's the 28. The 43 slides to the inside. This will draw the caution. Fourth incident of the night. First one here in stage number 2. And it looked like it collected about 3 or 4 trucks in total. The 14 of Sammy Davis and Dennis Steele, both involved. The 14 does get back rolling. Can't tell exactly how bad Sammy's damage is. And the 14 looks like it's wobbling around. You got to hope he doesn't have some sort of suspension issue. I don't think he does. Just say the truck looks pretty clean. And so he'll get back rolling. And this will now bring us to that lap 40 mark. Let's go back, take a look at exactly what happens right here. Just as we were hopping on board, this is going to start with, I believe, the 28 of Dennis Steele and maybe Sammy Davis. And first thing I think we need to do here is go to the chopper view. That'll probably give us the best look at this. All right, so keep an eye. Let's actually play this slow and see exactly where this starts. Towards the front, everything looks clean. Ooh, there you go. And I believe that's Haas Beverly. Nope, I take that back. Sorry, I thought I saw a similar scheme. That's the 43, not the 22. So that's Mike Wood Sr. coming through the middle. And then there's the 28 on the bottom. I think they're just going to kind of make some contact here. So Dennis Steele, he's not quite glued to the bottom, but he is pretty darn close. And you see the 43 maybe looking to split 3 wide, looking for a little bit of a side draft. And then the 28 maybe just slightly moves up. There's a little bit of contact. It's not much. Turns the 28 hard into the outside wall. The 14 going for a slide. He had to have gotten hooked here. I think he does, but I think it is just barely. Yeah, it is. I mean, by inches, just barely gets bumper hook. That's going to send him down towards the inside wall. 43 goes for a slide. Looks like Tyler Beverly slid in to the 28 further back. The 14 comes to a grinding halt. Dennis Steele as well going into turn 1. Now let's take a look at this from a couple different angles here. As the 43 slides, let's talk about the more contact section. There you go. Tyler Beverly, yeah, just couldn't avoid it. That gives him some front-end damage, but I think if you're Dennis Steele, you're probably going to have to use a fast spare off of this one. That was pretty significant contact. How about from TV number 2? And just nothing anybody, again, necessarily did wrong there. The net code's definitely been a little bit stronger tonight. And so, I mean, if I'm a driver right now, I'm taking notes. You maybe have to give each other a little bit more room, at least until we get to the end of this race when, of course, belts come off and it's all go from there. But there's one more look at it. So 43 something. Man, the 96 of William George. How did he cut his way through that one? In fact, I said last view, but we're not done yet. We have got to go take a ride on board with the 96 to this one. He was about as close as you could get here to hit, and I believe it was the 43. And there you go. Actually, that's not William George. Excuse me, that was Tyler Beverly. I did mean to go to William George. All right, let's take one more look at this one. There you go. So he sees him wrecking in front, and he's immediately going to dive to the inside. Sees the 14 spinning. Oh, my goodness. It was the 14 who he just missed. Kept going left, and then finally had to yank it back right. A close call, but a nice near miss for William George. Saves him a fast repair. So up front, it is Joe Yakes now leading in the 87 machine. Just behind him, Jesse Calloway, Colton Hardy back in 3rd. Jesse Wise 4th, Kevin Winker in 5th. Isaac Smallwood back in 6th with Eric Hegdahl in 7th. Bill Hales in 8th, Michael Miller in 9th, and Robert Dudley rounding out your top 10. We are now going to take our second commercial break of the night. But again, we will stay side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us for the restart at Daytona. Back live at Daytona International Speedway for the winning bid 250. Thank you all so much that have came out tonight. Just put a quick poll up on whether or not you guys think we will have another caution. And if I got a vote, I'm going to say yes, because it's Daytona. We still got 60 laps to go. The biggest thing this caution did was it made the fuel strategy a lot clearer in terms of, we know we're going to have one more pit stop, but we're going green here with just a few laps under 60 to go. So this will be a clean one-stopper and actually get a little bit of strategy play and a little wiggle room now. And do you want to pit a couple laps on the early side, maybe try to short pit it, or do you want to late pit it? We're going to find out as the green flag is back in the air. Some new faces up front, including Joe Yakes, Colton Hardy, Jesse Calloway, Jesse Wise, and a couple others. Kevin Winker, Isaac Smallwood Smallwood. The two closest to the front that have been there all night right now, they've got a little work cut out for them. We'll see how they decide to go about this, but a lot of disorganization that time on the restart as both lanes, no help. The inside going to get a little bit more organized a little bit quicker. And so right now, the 4 of Jesse Calloway, nothing he can do right now. Just hoping that the 69 of Jesse Wise can help him out. The two Jessies, they are going to get linked together here down the backstretch. Is it enough to hold off the charge from the 16 and the 87? And it looks like it will. Well, not for long. Ooh, a little bit of a blink right there. That's causing a stack up out back even bigger. Everybody's got to try to check up in time. It looks like they do. Close call right there for Keith Prince and Will Raynowell. Oh, my goodness. Everybody saves it, but right now it's the inside rolling. And so we'll see if this outside is able to get it grouped up and start to get the momentum kind of wound back up. Jump to the outside, though. There goes Kevin Winker. Boy, he has not wanted to stay in line at any point this race. I think every time we have seen him go back further than the second row, he has immediately found a way to either jump out of line or try to find a third lane to get right back to the front. And with him jumping out, that'll help pull that outside line up to his back bumper, and then now gives him a push from the 4 of Jesse Calloway. Isaac Smallwood on the inside, though, the third support as yellow flag is out. More trouble towards the back. And looking for it, there you go. Looks like it's going to be not the 14, but the 24 of Rick LePage and the 40 of Randy Gosey. This was all the way back around the 30th position. And I think Andrew Hansley had to come to a halt to miss the 12 of Michael Newman, who was involved as well. And man, it looks like they might still be having trouble towards the front. I can't tell if this is just everybody slowing down. I think it is. So as we go back, we're going to have to go back and take a look at this one. Going through the grass, there's Randy Gosey. So this brings out your 5th caution of the night with 45 of 100 laps complete. Going down the back straightaway is where I think this actually all starts. Coming into turn number 3. And so here we go. Let's see. This might start further ahead with the 18. It almost looks like. Let's go up to the 14 here of Sammy Davis. Keep an eye here. Further up, a little bit of contact. The 18, yeah. So the 24 is actually the first man that gets turned out of line, and it's as the result of another big checkup. We've seen a couple of those tonight. This was the first time that it really caused a pretty big incident. Of course, we did see a little bit of one on the first lap. So watch the checkup here. Does it start with David Trailer? Does it start behind? It looks like it's actually going to start with, I believe, the 18. And watch as we can get a better view of this here, hopefully. There's the checkup. A lot of fire out of the pipes for the 18. Haas Beverly trying to check up in time. Gets into the 18. That causes him to stack up 14 with a big checkup. And just behind him, the 99 of Dylan Paz. Not able to check up in time. Rams the 24. Sends him through the grass. And then gets up into the 12. Going to send Michael Newman spinning down the banking. And then now everybody just trying to miss it. The 43, the 40 get collected. The 12 back up the track. And the 29 here just coming to a halt. He saw it. Didn't like what he saw. And man, he barely was able to get that truck stopped just in time before T-boning Michael Newman. Let's go back and take a couple different looks at this one. First one I want to actually look at here was how close this call was for Andrew. I mean, when I talk about he came within inches, I mean, I don't even know if you could have fit a piece of paper between those two trucks. Let's take a ride off the nose view. Look how close this gets. So he sees him wrecking, misses the first checkup, somehow dodges the 99, goes high, and now though they're going to slide back up. 43, the 12 sliding down, locks it up. Oh my goodness, you cannot get any closer than that. What a nice piece of driving though, again, to be able to miss that. We always talk about how much skill you got to have to get to the front at these super speedways, but it takes skill in both. You got to be able to miss wrecks too. That's exactly what he did right there. There's another look from the spotter view. Man, the 43 got kind of arc braked a little bit right there by the 40 of Randy Gosey, but sometimes it's just too hard to check up depending on the kind of the field of view that you have at the time of the wreck starting. So let's go back up to exactly where this wreck starts. The 14. Actually, the 18 rather here of Evan Schilling. He got turned, and we talked about he did go through the grass, but that was about it. 24 went for a slide as well. No damage there. I mean, definitely didn't look like anybody got anything too bad. I don't think this is going to be a fast repair kind of wreck. I think this is just going to be a couple of hurt feelings maybe, and a loss of track position for a lot of these guys as we take one more view. There's the 43 getting plowed into. Nothing he could do. And that's the second wreck tonight that Mike Wood Sr. has been a part of. Not of his initial causing. And there is the 14 arriving on scene of Sammy Davis. So as everybody gets it all cleaned up, we will go back live up front. Kevin Winker, well, he made the aggressive move. It pays off. He finds himself back in the lead. In second, it's Isaac Smallwood, Eric Higdahl in third. Lance Thompson back in fourth. Michael Miller fifth, up 18 from where he started. Roger Strickland in sixth. Bill Hales back in seventh. Braden Avila in eighth. Robert Dudley ninth. And Jonathan Herbert running out your top 10. And so as we go back up front, we talked about fuel strategy. So when they cross the line for the restart, it'll be 48 laps complete. So they're going to have 53 laps to go. Talked about 100% fuel, 32. So again, each caution from here on out, at least until we get within 32 laps to go, is just kind of opening the door for what strategy do you want to play. If you have enough teammates, which in this case, I think I looked to maybe the T4R, I think the Turn 4 Racing guys, and then of course Asphalt Outlaws Racing. They've all got a lot of guys, and if they pit together, then they may have a chance to try to pull away and make it a race amongst themselves. You can't leave out loose lug nuts. They've got a lot of guys as well. But up front, Isaac Smallwood, I think he's kind of been the counter to Kevin Winker tonight. Maybe not quite as aggressive on the approach, but it's worked out the same, and that is one of the two more power drivers. And Eric Hegdahl back in third. He's getting ready to line himself up for some serious pushing on the back bumper of Kevin Winkle. And they're up top, Kevin Winker. And they're up top to the 21 of Lance Thompson. Appreciate, again, everybody coming out. First race here for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing. And so, again, I'm probably going to get the names butchered a little bit here on the first night, maybe a little bit next week, but we'll have it down hopefully 100% by week number 3. Still, though, appreciate everybody coming out. 33 concurrent viewers. I know we got a lot of Kevin Winker fans out there right now, along with a lot of other drivers. They like when you guys come out here and root them on, and we certainly appreciate it as well. Here we go, coming out of turn number 4. The pace truck going to make another hard left turn. That pit window, though, it will open right about lap 70. That's going to be about 24 laps from now, similar length to what we ran in stage number 1. So watch to see if anybody considers doing that, if we can make it that far on green. 5th caution of the night is wrapped up, and we are back green at Daytona. And the inside quickly going to roll away, already able to tandem up, and that tandem duo is going to jump right to the outside line. Kevin Winker, Eric Hegdahl. They know that the outside gets a good run on the backstretch on the first lap, so they're trying to block that. Another very, very veteran-looking move right now from Kevin Winker. And let's see if they get enough momentum here to get clear of the bottom. The 11 already lined up, but on the bottom, Bill Hales, he is also lined up with Michael Miller, so they're going to hang pretty even right here. If Kevin Winker gets clear, does he take it or does he stay high? He's not going to have much of a choice. Not able to get clear as they climb the 31 degrees in banking, and they will stay side by side. Well, we put the poll up about if we get another caution, and fortunately I forgot to take it down before we got another caution. So 100% of the 6 of you that voted said that there would be, and you were certainly correct, and I don't think we're done just yet. Still 2 by 2. The only time we really saw 3 wide tonight was coming towards the end of stage 1, and I don't think we'll see much more of it until at least we get past that final pit stop. Now, if you decide to run this thing out, then you can make it to probably right around lap 80, maybe a couple laps shorter for that final pit stop. So we go back right in the middle of the pack, take a ride on board. Tried to do this a little bit earlier, but we talked about the speeds that everybody runs. Near 190 miles an hour as they get into the turn, and this is the part that for me is even harder. Let's go to one of the lead pushers right here. Let's go on the inside here for Robert Dudley. And actually just in front of him, Eric Hegdahl on the outside. He's able to see a little bit better, but if you're Bill Hales, look at this. You can't see anything on the inside. He is relying on Michael Miller, hoping that Michael holds it straight. That's the only way for them to make progress. You see him duck the right side out. He's trying to cool the oil temps off just a little bit. The longer you're stuck and sucked up to the back bumper of the truck in front of you, the hotter your temps are going to get. If they start to get in the red, that's the danger zone. You got to get out of it so your truck doesn't blow up. And there you go. He is giving another big shot to Michael Miller. That outside, though, is just ferocious. Nobody seeming to fade at the moment. The 11 continues to stick it right to the back of Kevin Winker, trying everything to push him out front. Further back, looked like the 21 of Lance Thompson got a little out of shape as they got into 3. He washed up just a little bit, and he was able to get it back together, get back down in line. Further back, there's the 88s we've been talking about a couple times this race, but how about Nicholas Lawrence? We are going to have a chance to talk about each one of these guys as the season progresses, but so far tonight, Nicholas Lawrence is up 7 from where he started in front of Jonathan Herbert. You go a little bit further back, Dennis Steele in the 28 involved in that last wreck. He is already back up to the 17th position. And there is Michael Newman, the one teammate to Kevin Winker tonight. We call him a teammate, but we'll say the one alliance member to Kevin Winker tonight. And right now finds himself behind Tyler Beverly in the 45. And speaking of Tyler Beverly, I think that might be my favorite paint scheme here tonight. It's a good-looking green and black Zin truck. And now he's going to try to get it closer to the front. He's already up again, 7 from where he started. A lot of guys up over 5 positions from where they started this race, but your biggest mover inside the top 10 at the moment is indeed Will Rainwell, as he is currently up 23 positions from where he started this race at, the driver out of Robinson, Illinois. And so as they remain 2 by 2, it is now 52 of 100 laps complete. Let's head over and take a look at the schedule where these guys head next. And so Homestead Miami Speedway going to be the second stop for the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Season 5 Series. And that's an interesting track. Nothing like what we see at Daytona. A very loose track, not a lot of grip. But it's going to be the first mile and a half we head to, and I think it's a pretty good choice by the admins to send us there next week. Then we're going to head to the Tricky Triangle Pocono Raceway on January 19th, followed by Rockingham Speedway, and I've yet to broadcast a race there, so excited to see what these guys can do on a track like Rockingham. After that, we head to Atlanta Motor Speedway, another track that has drafting characteristics, and then it's off to the first road course, Watkins Glen International. That's going to be a different one. We might see a road course ringer. That's one of those tracks where a guy who maybe isn't the fastest at all the other tracks we head to, all of a sudden is the star of the show and gets their first win of the season. Dover, followed by Auto Club, and then the Lady in Black, Darlington. We'll head to our second super speedway of the season in Talladega. That will be later in March. Followed up by Martinsville, Kentucky, Mid-Ohio, Phoenix, Indianapolis, the Brickyard, and then we head to Texas, Iowa, and the regular season finale is going to be at Daytona International Speedway Legacy. Interesting choice. That's going to be another fun one. The round of 16, Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Richmond Raceway, and Michigan International Speedway. And then the round of 10 is going to be Charlotte Motor Speedway, Bristol Motor Speedway, and Talladega Super Speedway. And rounding us off, the Championship 5, a little different format there, is going to be at Kansas Speedway. Another phenomenal track to watch these trucks at. Getting excited for it. We got a lot of racing to do here to kick off 2024, and it's all started with what we've seen so far here tonight. Taking another look at how the drivers with driver cams for us here are doing tonight. Going back a little bit here, not too far. Lance Thompson having a good run, but just to go all the way back here, actually, Michael Newman. Actually, before we get to Michael here, let's see if we could stay a little bit closer. David Traylor, he has been continuing to pick up some positions. He is up to 15th. He's down 4 overall from where he started this race, but when you remember the incident that he was involved in a little bit earlier in this race, it's a good comeback so far for the driver of the 54. So Traylor will continue to try to work, pick up a couple more positions if he can. And then the man who we saw up front early, but since has just not been able to get back up here, Andrew Hansley. And right now, I don't know if he's hoping for a caution and just trying to play it safe or just biding his time and waiting for us to get to this final green flag pit stop. But the 29 in 32nd position right now is the last truck with that lead draft, so he's got to be really careful here. One mistake, and he could certainly lose that draft, and if you lose the draft, you all of a sudden are done without any caution. Jesse Calloway back here in the 4 truck. It's been a good recovery for him, but Jesse Wise, the Jesse that we have on a driver cam, back in 23rd now, down 3 from where he started. I think same deal for Jesse Wise here. I think maybe he decided to take it a little bit easy as things were starting to get a little bit more crazy than he would have liked to see it towards the front. And last but certainly not least, Michael Newman. He's had an up and down day, a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Right now in 18th, though, up 9 overall from where he started, trying to get closer and closer to his teammate for the night, Kevin Winker in the 42 machine. Speaking of Kevin Winker, right now up front, you're probably wondering where did he go? No longer the leader, but still the lead pusher on the outside. And he's going to try to get Eric Hegdahl clear as quick as he can and hopefully jump to the... I don't think he'd split him here. I think he stays pretty loyal here. It's too early still to do that. Now, I should note that we are 6 laps over halfway. So, again, that green flag stop could happen as early as lap 70, but I still don't know if we'll see anybody decide to bring it down right at the beginning of the fuel window. I think you go a little bit later to make sure that you have enough for a couple overtimes if we need them. But up front, the action remains side by side as it's been just about all night. How about a little crank it up at Daytona? Here we go. And that is going to do it for tonight's segment of Crank It Up. I hope everybody did enjoy. Going to be coming up on the first lappers of the night is the lead pack. Going all the way back. Looks like we've already had a couple trucks retired. Nicholas Lawrence currently not out on track. Randy Gosey still being scored as the last truck. And he is at least one, if not a couple laps down. No, only one for the moment, getting ready to be two. Then there's the 18 of Evan Schilling. He is getting ready to lose his first lap of the night as just not going the way he needs it to right now. And the 18 doesn't appear to be damaged, so if this lead pack can get around him okay, then he could drop right in the back and be fine. But, oh, man, a lot of racing right here between the two leaders. That is not what the lead pack wants to see. Hold your breath, folks. This is going to get a little interesting right here as they catch him. Oh, they're going to make him split him. Oh, this is a bad choice. Oh, my goodness. The 40 of Gosey is getting down into traffic. This isn't going to work. Hold your breath. Everybody's trying to save it. So far, they do. How long can it last? They are 3, 4 wide in some parts. Still trying to get through the lap trucks. And wow. This is one of the wildest things I've ever seen at a speedway. Lap cars race so hard. And I get it in terms of you don't want to lose another lap if you don't have to. And I don't necessarily think that Randy Gosey was trying really hard right there to hold everybody off. But, man, I mean, they kind of just split. You had one high, one low. The pack couldn't tell which way they were going to go. And, man, that created a ton of awkwardness. That was a phenomenal piece of driving by everybody to not get involved in all that chaos. And certainly the 40 did not make himself any friends through that one. So all of a sudden, after that, it has made the inside formed up a lot more. The outside with 3 trucks. I think you're going to get some help as the cavalry arrives. Sure enough, jump to the outside, the 3 of Keith Prince. The 17 of Will Noel. Will Rainwell. He thought about doing it, but thought quickly better of it. The 77 right now is leading up front. It's Michael Miller. Kevin Winker still pushing. And on the outside, here comes another big surge of momentum. The 11 of Eric Hegdahl trying to see what he can do and maybe get Robert Dudley out to the lead to lead his first lap of the night. Again, we talked about next week going to Miami. That's one of those tricky tracks, and as a driver, if you don't feel comfortable, I think the best way to get yourself some momentum is getting comfortable here and trying to go for a win at the end of this thing. Everybody still has one fast car, and I think all in all, we really have not had too many guys have to use theirs at this point for the night. Again, only one truck out of 34 has had to retire from the race at this point, and we still have at least 31 or 32 on the lead lap. Here's the move from Eric Hegdahl. He's going to jump to the bottom on Robert Dudley. Oh, big wreck! Hard into the outside wall they go. This is going to be the big one here on the night. Oh, my goodness. They're all piling in on the exit of 2. The 45, Tyler Beverly, gets pinned up, lands on another truck. As the 43, he gets in there with nowhere to go. The 24 came piling in. And oh my goodness. Well, it was just a matter of time, and time has ran out. There's Tyler Beverly. He is just driving it backwards right now. I don't even know if that thing can go forwards. And we'll see. I think he's going to try a little bit of a J-turn right here. As he continues to go backwards. There's Keith Prince. Look at the damage to the 45. I'm not sure how the hood could be on there because there is nothing to secure it. Here goes the 29 around the top. He's going to back it through the grass, and I think he's probably going to back that thing all the way up until he gets to the pits. And, oh, he's got to be careful. Oh, and that's going to be a little bit more damage for the 45. Let's go back and take a look here at exactly what goes wrong. It brings out your 6th caution of the night. So here we go, 64 laps in. Saw somebody get turned up the track. We saw that much, but what is going to start the turn up the track? Let's go further up here. So it's going to start. There's the 5 of Isaac Smallwood, and it's going to be between him and the 77 of Michael Miller. Let's go see if we can find Smallwood here. All right, so here you go, getting into the corner. Dudley gets high. How does he get high right here? And he just, oh, he tries to, no. Well, let's go to the chopper view. This is another little bit of an odd look right off the get-go. And so here's what's going to happen. Watch right, that first car in line, actually second car in line, Eric is going to jump right down to the bottom on Robert Dudley. Dudley gets a little high. Isaac Smallwood looks like he's going to try to split him here. And, I mean, he's there. I got to be honest. Isaac Smallwood looks to me like he's there. I don't know if Robert Dudley was expecting the move, but I think the 5 gets there. The 49 tries to block. Isaac decides to bail, and when he does, Keith Prince just running too close, hits him a little bit offset. That turns him down into the 77 and sends it back up the track. And by no means am I saying Keith Prince did anything wrong. There's nothing he can do. He's got to run close to keep that line moving. But boy, once they wreck, this thing gets ugly. Look at the guys that pile into this. Just nowhere to go. They all slide in, and eventually it just becomes blocked. There's the 24 pilot. I mean, that is a genuine roadblock right on the exit of turn 2 here at Daytona. Let's go take a couple different angles of this one here. First one from TV1. Should take that back. We'll go to TV2 for the first angle at this. Hard hit for Isaac Smallwood, and then look at the cars this collects. You see the 33 with nowhere to go. The 25 is in it. Everybody just trying to find any place to dodge it. The 45, Tyler Beverly, though, I still think gets the worst of this one. There's the 88 of Jonathan Herbert. As there you see him, he gets launched up, and does he get into the catch fence? Close. I think the truck's able to stay out of the fencing, as he does land, though, on top of another truck. 33, good-looking paint scheme tonight, but it certainly got scraped up pretty bad in that one. It is John Shilino. Then further back, one of the Turn 4 Racing guys also involved. It's the 43 machine of Mike Wood Sr. And so overall, this wreck collecting a lot of trucks. And now, for the first time tonight, I can say you are going to be seeing a lot of fast repairs gone from this wreck. Let's take a ride on board here, actually. One of the guys involved in this one here. This is actually going to be on board with Isaac Smallwood. Tries to take it, realizes that he's going to get sandwiched, tries to prevent the wreck, but unfortunately in doing so, ultimately still ends up, to a degree, causing one that is going to cost him a fast repair. Take one more look here from TV3 at it. And man, when they start piling in, there's going to be somebody here that dives low and is able to miss this. Try to figure out, was it David Trailer? No, he's not going to be able to do so. You're trying to check up, and if we're at Talladega, I think maybe you see more trucks miss this. Problem is here at Daytona, that apron is so flat that you can't just get down on it and hold the truck down there like you would be able to at Talladega. You got to get an arc or get the truck woed up enough to stay on the flat. And just nobody really able to do so. It ultimately leads to a big wreck. And then late in the going there, the 24 was stuck behind the 51. Couldn't see it coming. When he finally could, it was just too late, and he piled in pretty hard to the back of that truck. So there you go. Everybody rolls off site. And so as we go back up front, it is Kevin Winker being scored as your leader. On his outside, it's Eric Hegdahl, who I'm not sure maybe is the leader here and just chose the top. We'll find out here by the time they get back to the restart zone. Colton Hardy in third, David Trailer fourth, Dylan Paz in fifth, Michael Miller back in sixth, Jesse Calloway seventh, Roger Strickland in eighth, Robert Dudley ninth, Jesse Wise running out your top 10. As they work their way onto the backstretch, important to note, it is the one to go, as I was just saying. So they're going back green, but they're going to go back green with, it looks like, exactly 34 laps to go. Now, remember what we said the fuel window was? 32? That's stretching it, but man, if you really save, maybe 33, and if you have some luck as well, maybe 34. I think that's still maybe pushing it just a little bit too far. The moral of the story is if we get one more caution at any point from here on out, these guys are going to be good to go the rest of the way on fuel. I think that's good news is, honestly, if you're Kevin Winker or Eric Hegdahl, with the speed and domination that you've had towards the front of the field just about all night, but you can't count out David Trailer. Been getting through some of these wrecks. I think he had a little contact on the last one, but nonetheless, he finds himself up currently in that second spot. And he is going to be looking for a whole lot more right here. We'll see if he decides to stick with Kevin Winker or if he tries to make a move to jump up to the top. Driver out of Loxley, Alabama. So here we go. Pace truck going to make another left turn for this restart. We're going to actually take a ride on board with the outside pusher, the 16 of Colton Hardy, as they roll back into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air at Talladega. Out of Geico, Colton Hardy, not the restart he wanted, and I realized that I said Talladega. Not much of a difference between here and Daytona, but I do apologize for that. Had a race that was broadcasting at Dega just last night. Seeing much more of the same here tonight with the aggressive racing, aggressive pushes. But speaking of pushes, tonight it's really just been a lot of bump drafting, not a lot of slam drafting, and not too much hard pushing just yet. But I can promise you when we get within probably about the last 25 laps of this race, more or less after we get the last green flag pit stop out of the way, I think that's when you start to see push really come to shove. And that's if we indeed have that green flag stop. Not a guarantee, really close on fuel. I think if you're these leaders, you certainly have to, and that's the strategy that you commit to if you're committing to staying at the front. But further back, when you're in that draft, you have the opportunity to save a little fuel. Go right on board with one of these guys back here to see if that's the case. And we'll go all the way back here to Lance Thompson in 19th on the bottom, behind the 43, Mike Wood Sr. And there you go. Yeah, he's able to save a lot of fuel. In fact, you hear him, he's probably only 3/4, maybe all the way down at some points there to half throttle. By riding in that draft, the less throttle time you have to run, the longer you're going to be able to stretch a fuel run. So we'll see if that's any sort of a strategy call from any of these guys. Up front, though, it is still the 11 and the 54 on the inside. They have lost all their help from the third row, though, for now. The 99 of Dylan Paul is trying to get there, but it's going to be too late. The outside really rolling now as Kevin Winker has gotten locked up with the 16 of Colton Hardy, and they are going to get the 42 clear going down into turn 1. Doesn't look like he's going to take it, at least not yet. And the 16 going to try to duck out. He's got to cool the nose off. We talk about a lot, if you ever watch any of the broadcasts I'm doing with Money Racing, how important it is to control lanes at both Daytona and Talladega. And you do that not to be throwing blocks and try to, I don't know, whatever these guys want to call it, flex your ego, but you have to do that to maintain the temps in both lanes. And as a driver, being a lead pusher, I like when the guy in front of me is able to control lanes. It gives me a chance to cool, and then when he jumps back up, I can push as hard as I want to because I'm going to constantly have those fresh temps. However, when you start to stay up or down in the lane for too long, it starts to get bogged up as that second and third truck in line start to get hot, and that's where you start to see one of the other lanes really surge. But right now, Kevin Winker, he still feels really comfortable on that bottom, or excuse me, on the top. Doesn't feel any need to move to the bottom. And meanwhile, the 11 of Eric Hegdahl gets a couple runs, but has not had enough to get clear to the outside. And if he does, we'll see if he decides to take it or stay where he is. Further back, the 17 of Will Rainwell. He is 3 wide with the 5 of Isaac Smallwood, along with the 92 as well of Clinton Woodby. And they're going to have to try to get this sorted out sooner or later. No help for the 17 right now. He is in no man's land up top in the marbles. And with absolutely no drafting help, the 8 slammed the apron right there. That was a close call for Nicholas Lawrence. That could have been a whole lot worse. And there you go, the 17 Will. He's finally going to find a spot to drop in line. He does just that. And so as we go back to the front, no 3 wide forming up just yet. Again, I think when we see it, it's going to be after that last stop. And I think it's also going to come a little bit further back than what you see in a lot of these speedway races. I look to maybe a guy a little bit further back, such as Jesse Calloway, who's already beat the odds a couple times tonight, or maybe just behind him, Braden Avila, who's been very aggressive for the most part tonight to be one of those first to jump 3 wide, but it's actually the 17 of Will Rainwell. He continues to jump up to the top, trying to make something work. Hasn't really had many people bite and go with him yet. But again, you keep showing that you've got the speed and the courage to go up top. Maybe you start to make some friends that want to go up there with you later in this race. 71, going to be 72 laps complete when we cross the line this time. And again, that final pit stop is the window's open. We are less than 30 laps to go, so the window's open. The question just becomes, when do guys decide to go in for it? We are going to take another side-by-side break before things get too out of hand. 72 laps completed Daytona. Kevin Winker leads. And we're going to hold off on going to break as yellow flag is out there wrecking big towards the back. Most of them able to save it as Beverly gets turned around at the last second by the 8 of Nicholas Lawrence. We're just getting ready to go to break. You saw the smoke fly on the backstretch and saw what looks like is going to ultimately be the end result. I didn't see from the first view anybody hit anything really too hard. There's Haas Beverly bringing the 22 machine back on track after some contact with the 8 of Nicholas Lawrence. Let's go back and take a look here. This doesn't start. Where does this start? This is going to start a little bit further up in the pack. So we'll go to the chopper view and watch what happens here. They start to get 3 wide, and man, that starts all the way up by the 17 of Will Rainwell. Looks like the 12 along with the 52 of Roger Strickland involved. And back that up one more time, take another angle of this from the front side. All right, so there you go. Looks like it's Roger Strickland and the 52 on the bottom. And there's Isaac Smallwood right in the middle. Things are already really, really tight. The 5 running close. And again, looks to me like just a little bit of that right rear netcode. Ever since the new damage model came out, when these guys run close, it just doesn't like it. That right rear gets caught a lot. just as it does right there between Isaac Smallwood and Roger Strickland. And then as soon as they make that contact, sends the 25 up into the outside wall, and now the wreck is on. Everybody's trying to find room to dodge it. The 5 gets in it, the 12 into it, and then the 8 of Nicholas Lawrence makes some contact. 43 trying to jump to the inside there, as do a couple others. Here comes Haas Beverly, and there's the contact between him and Nicholas Lawrence. But yeah, definitely didn't look like anybody hit anything too hard there, so I think everybody for the most part should be okay. Well, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say that the 52 and the 5, they might be using a fast pair, especially the 52. He did have some pretty hard contact right off the bat with that heavy contact to the outside safer barrier. As we go back and take a couple more looks at this here, watch from TV3. Just nowhere that Isaac Smallwood could go once they make contact. And if they get hooked to the inside, maybe it's not so bad, but when you go to the outside, there's a wall there. You don't have any runoff room. But again, this could have been a whole lot worse than it initially was, and it does look like Will Rainwell got a little bit of damage from that, but he was able to continue. Take a couple more angles of this one here. How about from the TV wall cam? Take one final look at this here. I want to see if we can take a ride on board here with Roger Strickland. So he had a pretty good view of this himself. There he goes, gets turned, gets into the 12. Well, actually maybe helps cushion what's going to be a pretty hard impact on the outside wall. I did see a couple people get sent down towards the inside wall, but I didn't think anybody made contact with it. Take one more shot here from TV2 to see if that is indeed the case. So there you go. They get turned around. A couple shoot down towards the inside wall. Actually, the 12 is going to hit it pretty hard right here. Oh, man. In fact, he backs it in, and there's some more contact. Looks like that's the 17 indeed of Will Rainwell. So the 12 getting a pretty big chunk of this one. That might be a fast pair, even though it's not in the front. That was a heavy hit to the rear of that truck. You got to think it affects his speed a little bit here. So 74 laps complete. Going to be coming to 25 to go once we take the green. Keith Prince in second. It's Braden Avila leading. David Trailer back in third. And Jesse Calloway is back in fourth. And it looks like Ryan L Gaming says Ryanwell is pronounced Ryanel. Great broadcast so far, and thank you. I was actually getting ready to say that. I'm glad somebody told me that. If I get any of these names wrong, you guys, you got to let me know. I mean, I can't pronounce it right if I don't know how to pronounce it right. So there we go. So Rhinel, and right now, he's doing a pretty good job up to this point. Colton Hardy as well in the 16. He's kind of came alive the second half of this race, and since he has, he's been doing pretty good. We'll see if he can keep the charge going. Driver out of Petersburg, West Virginia. So the lights on the pace truck, they flip off. We are getting ready to go back green. By the way, that caution put everybody in the fuel window. I could not have guessed at the beginning of this race that we would have had a 100-lap, 250-mile event at Daytona with not one green flag stop. But here we are. That's exactly the case, and it's go time. If you are wanting a chance to win the winning bid 250, you are going to the front right now, and you are not looking back. Quick shout out, by the way, to the sponsors of the season for Asphalt Outlaw Racing. Hopefully we got all their logos in the right places. Sonic Graphic Design, one of them. And you can't forget about, I believe these two sponsors were on last season, maybe the last couple seasons, the winning bid NASCAR Diecast auctions. I believe they sell cards as well, as you saw through the commercial. Yep, NASCAR Diecast sales and card breaks. So make sure you go check both of those guys out. And then a new sponsor for this season, from what it sounds like, is Nirjuana as well. So all the sponsors that make this possible, make the driver payouts. I was looking earlier today. To win the championship, I believe you get $250. Second and third get some pretty good money as well. I mean, think about that. To come out here and have fun for a whole season, you can make some serious money. And so you got to start with a good race here tonight at Daytona. And so far, so good for Kevin Winker. See what he can do, though, now by him pitting. Did fall a couple spots. In fact, all the way back to 8th, so now he does have a little bit more work cut out for him, but I always like being on the outside over the inside. By doing so, you have a good chance of jumping up to that third lane as soon as you start to see a run coming. We'll see what happens right here. Up front, though, Braden Avila and Keith Prince, row 1, David Trailer, Jesse Calloway in row 2. Who is going to make the first move? Here we go. Pace truck going to make the hard left turn. It will be 25 laps to go at the World Center of Racing. Back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. That's a big jump for Braden Avila, maybe too big of a jump. Keith Prince with an aggressive side draft right off the get-go. Which truck's going to get the help first? It's a drag race, but it's going to be the 4 of Jesse Calloway getting to the back bumper of Keith Prince. That gives them a big surge. Is it enough to get Keith Prince clear? It is for just a second. He chooses not to take it. David Traylor, meanwhile, was able to get tandemed up with the 25 on the bottom. Braden Avila is going to have to try anything he can to hold off the charge on the outside. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He does so somehow. Keith Prince didn't have the help he needed there as they got onto the backstretch. And so he'll have to settle for second right now as the 25 will charge back ahead as they climb the banking. Keep an eye on that 42, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know when he'll make the move. Again, 25 laps is still plenty of ways to go. Going to be 24 as we cross the line. I mean, you figure that's still well over 50, probably over 60 miles to go here at Daytona. But, man, you never know. We start getting cautions, starts ticking off laps where you don't have the opportunity to pass. I was never a guy to like to wait for the last lap, and from what I've seen from a couple of these trucks tonight, I don't think a lot of these guys are either. The 53 of Bill Hales, we saw him at the front earlier, finds himself a little bit further towards the middle of the pack right now in 19th, down 18 from where he started. William George on the move. He's up 16 from where he started in 18th. As we go all the way to the front, Keith Prince was leading on the inside, but how about now we are finally starting to see it for the first time tonight. Braden Avila is going to start working the lanes here a little bit, controlling. That's exactly what you got to do. And by him jumping up, that'll give David Traylor a chance to cool the temps. And how about the guy who fell all the way to the back after being involved in an incident, never gave up. And David Traylor has found himself back on point at Daytona. That lap, though, is going to go to Braden Avila. Let's actually go to the gearbox here for just a moment of David Traylor. Look how tight they're running. You got to remember that when they get 3 trucks deep, that's the most pushing you can do. If you're that 4th truck in line, you are not even considering pushing. But now what we are starting to see as well is a little bit of pushing in the corners. It's time to start getting antsy as we continue to get down to the end of this. And I think right now what you're seeing is, even though you're seeing a lot of pushing, it's still the calm before the storm. Nobody has jumped out to make that 3-wide move just yet. Maybe you save that for the final 10 laps. But everybody is certainly keeping an eye to see when that 3rd lane does form. Nobody wants to be the first one to necessarily start it. Instead, everybody wants to jump on board once it forms up. And Bill Hales looks like he's maybe going to get lined up with his teammate right here, Mark Beverly, further back on the outside line. And if they do, that could potentially be that first catalyst as well. The 43 jumping up there as well. There's the 22 of Haas Beverly, a little bit of damage, but doesn't seem to be affecting him. He pulls up to the back bumper of the 43. If they can get rid of Mike Wood Sr. right here, that would put Asphalt Outlaw Racing with 3 trucks together. And when you're ready to go, that's what you need, 3 trucks, so they won't have to wait on anybody else to be able to jump out by themselves. Still 2x2, though. No move yet. Just about the entire pack is up here. Anybody that's not, I believe, is by themselves as we take a look at the track map for the final time, potentially here of the night. And, oh, the 8 is hard into the wall. That's Nicholas Lawrence. As he went to let these guys by, we have got trouble for a couple guys right here. Man, what happened? Actually, I think it was just Nicholas Lawrence. I think we had some old data, but you saw the 8 go to the wall, and he's going to bring it down to the pits. You got to wonder, did somebody hit him, or does he get up there by himself? You would think he has some help. He goes, they get into the turn. Wow. I mean, he just goes down there and absolutely slams the apron. Causes this. He's just behind the 88 of Jonathan Herbert. Jonathan goes up. The 8 goes to dive down, and not sure if he was on old tires or what, but yeah, slams the apron, then gets out of control. Tank slapper to the outside wall. Somehow the 51 was able to miss him. That was close to being another caution. Let's go back and take one more look at this via the onboard. You see this a lot in the Xfinity cars when you put too much wheel in it, you get out of shape, but not so much the trucks. That apron, though, ladies and gentlemen, that's not very forgiving. That's a very, very abrupt transition. Nicholas Lawrence found that out the hard way right there. So as we go back up front, 20 laps to go now at Daytona. Keith Prince leads. David Traylor in second. On the outside, though, making a charge in third is Braden Avila. He has stayed on the outside. Keith Prince found a way back to the lead. They're stacking up, though. More and more pushing going on. We are going to take what is potentially our final break of the night, assuming no more cautions. Stick with us. We will catch all the action when we come back from break. Who is going to win it at Daytona? Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, getting closer to the conclusion of the winning bid 250. You saw it during our commercial break. Another caution is out, and this one was kind of two different incidents. It was the second one that ultimately brought the caution out. But let's go back and try to break this whole situation down from where it started to where it ended. So this is the first incident in the tri-oval. They just started to get through wide right as we were going to break. Kevin Winker kind of started it, and then everybody else tried to find their spot in line. And it looks like it's going to be Haas Beverly along with the 5 of Isaac Smallwood. And so you wonder what put these guys in this situation. So there you go. You see Haas, the last truck in the middle lane, the 5 of Isaac Smallwood, the last truck on the outside. And, Haas starts to just wash up a little bit. He gets above that seam. And the 5 of Isaac Smallwood maybe coming down a little bit. But, yeah, I think that's Haas drifting up a little bit. And the 5 there, he gets into his left front. That hooks him into the outside wall. And then that kind of bounces you off. That sends Haas back down. He gets into a couple other guys here, including, it looks like, I think he does indeed get into the 17 of Will Reinl. And there you go, the 22 going to slide back down. Here's where you got more significant contact as Will goes for a slide too. So it collected about 4 trucks. You saw Will actually get spun around. And he didn't slide back up on track, neither did the 5. And that's where it was the wreck up front that really took over here and kind of drew the attention. Mark Beverly was in it, along with a couple others. So let's go see exactly how this one starts. So you see the 13 in the middle up top. You got the 69 of Jesse Wise and the 87 of Joe Yakes. Jesse's a little high here getting into one. In fact, he might be in the wall. The 87 sees that, trying to give him a push, gets him a little offset. The 87, though, just getting down the track. Slight contact to the right rear of Mark Beverly sends him up. And then a lot of these guys, again, nowhere to go. You see Robert Dudley along with the 21 there of Lance Thompson piling in. And then I think, it looks like the 88 does make some contact, Jonathan Herbert. And he sends, I forget exactly who that was, hard into the outside wall. And actually not too hard, all things considered. But let's go look at this from the spotter view. I think that might have been, is that the 28 here? Yeah, I think it was. So that's more contact. But there you go. Mark Beverly getting the worst of that one. Front end completely dented in. He was able to roll back, but if he's got a fast pair, I think he's certainly going to have to use it now. Take a couple more peeks at this one here from a couple different angles. How about from TV3? This is just tight racing, and this is what you're going to get when you start going 3 wide. These guys are running so close together that if you make any sort of mistake, it's going to lead to an accident like this. We saw the big one earlier. We see another pretty big one now. Robert Dudley took a lot of damage from that as well, as did the 28. And the 88 might have a little bit more on the right front than we initially thought. As you see, that was pretty solid contact that he did indeed make. But as the race gets closer and closer to the end, the moves are only going to get bolder. The racing's only going to get tighter. And we're going to have that much more of a chance each lap of seeing another big wreck. Here's another look from the wall cam. It's a tough break for everybody involved. But that first wreck may have been kind of a blessing in disguise for everybody involved. It didn't look like there was any hard hits besides Haas Beverly. So everybody else that got taken out didn't have to worry about arriving on scene at a bad time in that main wreck that ended up bringing out the caution. And so here we go. As we go back up front, the restart's going to be with 14 laps to go. It's David Traylor leading. The 25 of Braden Avila on the outside. And Jesse Calloway back in third. Keith Prince fourth. The 42 of Kevin Winker trapped on the inside, this time in fifth. The 99 back in sixth. And you know what Kevin Winker did that last time? He exposed exactly what I talked about earlier in the broadcast. How these guys had washed up in the turds. He took advantage. He had went to the middle. That's what initially sparked all the 3-wide action. And you know, whether you like the move or not, it's a fair move. If you leave the middle open too much, you get into any of the pro lobbies, a lot of officials, guys won't cut you as much of a break as all these drivers do. And here, with the amount of respect that you find in here, they'll just split you. And Kevin Winker, it was go time. He saw the gap. He said, I'm taking it. If you guys don't want me to, you're going to have to defend the middle a little bit better. We'll see what they do about it this time around. All right, here we go. 14 laps to go. Back into the restart zone. And through the gears we go. It's a big jump on the outside by Braden Avila. He is going to be David Traylor to the line, but with no avail from Keith Prince. That bottom will get linked up quicker, but the 25 gets enough room to get clear by about a truck length on the bottom. And we'll see if Braden Avila decides to go lower. Does he stay up top? Stays up top for now. The 54 of David Traylor with a big surge. Now you got to ask, is it enough for him to try to get out in front? as they race on to the Daytona super stretch. The 43 falling back in the sucker hole. Nowhere to go now. That's Mike Wood Sr. He's going to find a spot in line. Maybe not. No. Keeps falling for just a moment. And now he does find a spot on the inside as they go into turn number 3. Too wide as it takes these trucks at least a lap to get up to speed. And you got to close those gaps up before you're going to make a move. Now, whenever you get gaps, you start to get runs. When you start to get runs, you start to get moves being made. Keep an eye on some of these trucks that are catching here at a pretty high rate of speed. The 33 of John Shileno. We have not talked about this man a lot tonight, but the driver out of Hamburg, New York, he's been having a good run. He's up 4 from where he started. He's in one of the best looking paint schemes out here by one of the series sponsors. And he's going to jump right up to the top. He knows that he needs to put himself in position for when it's go time. And we're going to be coming up on 12 laps. It is go time. 54 of David Trailer still on the bottom. A lot of fishtailing further back. One truck with no front end. I believe that's Robert Dudley. So as they go into turn number 3, the 25 has not been able to get back down to the bottom. In fact, they're actually rolling pretty strong. If we take a look at weather again, it's cooled down even more. I think we're down about 6 degrees in total from where we started this race to about where we're going to end it. And so now at 83 degrees, this is helping the inside roll that much more. Sim time now is 5:16. The sun has, for the most part, gone down here. You see just about the entire track now shaded. Light's going to start to come on here soon, and it is still all David Trailer. How about the 4 truck, though? Jesse Calloway, he'll get clear. He has a shot at a move if he wants it, but it doesn't look like he wants to take it. And that was a big opportunity. You got to make business decisions, and right now, seems like the 4, Jesse Calloway, feels pretty comfortable pushing. Tell you what, I think the man that feels the most uncomfortable, though, right now is most likely David Trailer leading at Daytona. It's one of the hardest things you can do on iRacing, and here you go. Take an onboard view. He has got to hold the wheel as steady as possible, and he's got to make sure he wraps the yellow line. If he comes off of it at all, could get a sour push and could send him right around. But on that outside line, they're still making some progress, making some ground. There is the move from the 4. He jumped up to the top. Jesse Calloway gets clear. Doesn't want to take it just yet. He liked what he saw out of the top, and so he's going to stick there now for just a moment. 3 wide, further back the 99 of Dylan Pause. And man, oh man, things just keep getting tighter and tighter. Ticking time bomb. When's it going to blow up? The 42 of Kevin Winker. Oh man, just barely was able to slam the door right there on the 25 of Braden Avila. Further back, the 4 almost gets put 4 wide. He's getting really tight, getting up near the wall. And you got to try to stay and side draft the trucks that are to your inside in order to make progress. There it is. Contact the 18's around. Now the 3 of Keith Prince spins. This will bring the caution out as they're wrecking in the tri-oval. The 18 slides back up. Mike Wood Sr. with nowhere to go. And this will bring out your 9th caution of the night. Keith Prince comes to a halt just below the flag stand. And a lot of debris laying out through the infield. And oh boy, we are going to have a restart with less than 10 laps to go. Racing is just going to keep getting better and better from here. All right, here we go. Let's go back and take a look. Exactly what causes this one. See if we can get a view here first from the spotter stand. And I kept saying things were getting tight. Lanes were being swapped so rapidly, and you got one truck starting to come up the track. No, it's going to be a row behind the red truck. So it actually is the 43 of Mike Wood Sr. And does he just get tight, or does he get some help here? You see he's running in the middle, and watch as they come off of 4 here. I think he gets... That's a hard one to say. I'm not sure what happens here. Maybe he didn't realize that they were 3 wide, gets up a little high, realizes it, but it's too late. He makes contact with Keith Prince, and then goes back down, ping-pongs off the 18, and then now the wreck's on from there. They get back up into Keith Prince, who spins down, and this is going to collect a whole bunch. John Shileno with nowhere to go. Looks like Nicholas Lawrence may have been able to sneak through without too much damage. The 77 of Michael Miller gets a little bit of contact through this as well. Further back there, you see William George taking a full detour through the grass, and then as they come back up, you see Mike Wood Sr. gets even more damage. Take a view of this here, actually with Mike Wood Sr. Actually, I take that back. We're going to take a different view here. Instead, this will be the view through Keith Prince's eyes. And 3 wide, you know things are getting tight. Contact, and then he gets turned around. Nothing he could do. Didn't really get much of a chance of saving it. There's the big hit. It's going to give him a lot more damage than he would have initially had. And eventually comes to a sliding halt right up by the safer barriers. Everybody else was able to duck low and miss him. He's going to wait for the rest of the field to go by before he gets it rolling and gets back going. Got a look here from TV3. Man, definitely could have been a lot worse. Happened right about in the middle towards the back of the pack. And, you know, all things considered, I think the 77 of Michael Miller actually snuck through this. That's impressive if he did, as he was right in the thick of it. And that's one of those wrecks that you miss it now all of a sudden. When you find yourself in position to win this thing here in just about a handful of laps or so, you're going to be remembered back to this wreck and how you managed to miss it as a thanks to being in that position. So here you go. This is Michael Miller. Watch this. Sees him wrecking, gets on the brakes, gets low, sees one coming down, still on the brakes, still on the brakes. Lets Keith Prince roll back up before he gets back in the gas and back on track. Phenomenal miss and a near one at that. Let's take two more looks at this one here. One from TV Static. As they wreck coming through the tribal. We have seen so many wrecks there tonight. And we'll take one more look at this here from TV2. Right there, the 33 of John Shalino. I think he was just about cleared the mess. And then unfortunately, last second, when Keith Prince had got spun down, he ended up right in front of the path of the 33. Nothing he could do to avoid it. So as we go back live, up front, should get the one to go signal right here. And guess who's out in front? Kevin Winker in the 42, up 4 from where he started. David Traylor in second. Bill Hales back in third. Braden Avila in fourth. Colton Hardy in fifth. Eric Hegdahl in sixth. Clinton Woodboy back in seventh. Jesse Calloway eighth. Jonathan Herbert in ninth. And Michael Miller currently rounding out your top 10. Quick reminder, the next place the Ghost Racing Network heads after tonight is going to be tomorrow night. Over to McCall Motorsports Money Racing for the inaugural race for the Little Dog Big Dog series. That is going to be a fun one, pairing up the biggest drivers in money racing with some of the smaller drivers in money racing for a team-style event in which I believe the champion will be going home with $700 for their team at the end of the season, and the prizes go down just barely for each position after that, so big payouts. Don't want to miss out on that one. We still got some action to get wrapped up here tonight. First, it is going to be a 7-lap to go restart. Your race breakdown so far, we have had 9 cautions. Over 91 laps ran up to this point, but 8 more to crown a winner at the biggest track in all of motorsports. Appreciate everybody that has tuned in again at some point or tuning in currently tonight. Hope everyone enjoys. Again, appreciate you all for coming out. 54, David Traylor. He looked really calm and collected during that last short run that we had under green. Now remember, if these guys can make it to the white flag, and this race will be official. However, they're still going to have to make it around, looks like, about 6 times, as we're going to take the green with 7 laps to go. So we certainly still could be due for, I think we've seen the big one tonight, but you can't count out a potential for 2 big ones. We may have one more here in the pocket, and now take your pick. Who's taking it 3 wide first? I'm looking a little bit further back here, maybe the 4 of Jesse Calloway. He was able to do it on the last run, made it work for a little bit before ducking back down in line, if not him. And I maybe look back here to the 29 of Andrew Hansley, who we saw earlier towards the front. It's been at the back for a while, and I think he's ready to make his way right back towards the front. All right, there we go. David Traylor, the field in his hands. Kevin Winker on the outside, back into the restart zone. Green flag is in the air. Both of your front runners waiting until we get to the green flag, and that's the smart way to do it. That's how you keep all your help nice and tight, but it looks like it is Kevin Winker right off the get-go who's going to get the better push down into turn number 1. And the 53 of Bill Hales, he has been leading, he has been pushing tonight. He's got experience with both of them, and he's going to use it right here. Now, if you're Kevin Winker at this point, if he gets him clear, does he drop lower? Does he stay up? As they race down the Daytona Super Stretch, it's a dead heat drag race between David Traylor and Kevin Winker. Both guys trying to get clear of the other to make a move. Nothing doing. They will stay even. The first 2 trucks in each lane are tandemed up. The 3rd truck can't even get there just yet. And so wherever that help comes up first is they're wrecking big out back. This will bring the caution out, as we have got another mess here. This one, not a ton of trucks, but a vicious one. It's the 99 of Dylan Paws. It's destroyed. Keith Prince arriving on scene, keeps going. The 12, the 49 of Robert Dudley. I believe that damage was from a previous wreck. Joe Yakes gets back rolling. He's got a lot of damage to the front of the 12 machine, or excuse me, the 87 machine as well. And so now This might put us in an overtime restart. Or at least 2 laps to go at that. Joe Yates was way behind this. I don't think he was actually in this wreck. Let's go back here to the guys that were. Thought this wreck started. And hold on, let me get down here for just a minute. We'll go take a different angle of this one here. So the 99 was in it. Let's keep an eye on the 99 of Dylan Pause. So they get 3 wide. Oh, there it is. The 49 of Robert Dudley. Slight contact to the left rear. The 87 hooks him down. Oh, the 99 gets blindsided right in the right rear. Oh, man, that's a hard hit. Destroys the front end as the hood and front bumper go flying. The 52, nowhere to go. The 14 piles in as he gets turned up the track, back into the 99. The 21 of Lance Thompson with nowhere to go. And then there you go, the 87 spinning back up the track. More contact. I believe the 33 of John Chalino was able to miss this. So as we take another look at it here, it's just really close, tight racing here, and slight contact is maybe the 87 coming down just a little bit. Was Dudley going up? It didn't look like it from this view. Yeah, I don't think Dudley's coming up. They were running really tight as was. Yeah, I think the 87 just slightly comes down. They were so close that it didn't take much. Contact is made, and then look at the 99. So close to sneaking through it, but just not able to do it. So as they wreck out back, leaders were all able to keep it clean, so this caution not going to affect any of your front runners. I think the only questions at this point may have been fuel, but again, I don't think that's actually going to be much of a concern in itself either. We take a couple more angles of this one. Robert Dudley had already had a ton of damage, so this one, I don't know if it can really do much more at this point, but Dylan Pause, I think gets toughest break out of that one, along with maybe the 12 as well. Here we go. Let's see if we can get a different view of this one here. How about from the TV static cam? Definitely wasn't the big one, but it was certainly a big wreck in itself. Take one more shot at this here from TV1. Always talk about it just does not take much. There you go. Watch the 99 as he gets turned up the track. There's the hit, and then piling in here. Everybody's just going to have nowhere to go behind. John Chalino, though, was one of the ones that did check up instead of trying to split the gap, and it actually worked out well for the 33, as we talked about. And then there's the 21 going over the hill, almost getting into the inside wall. And the 14 stays up the track. That's Sammy Davis. And so it, in total, brings out your 10th caution of the night. If we go green the rest of the way, then that would be an average of 1 caution every 10 laps. So it's been a little bit dicey, but again, Daytona, you kind of expect it to a degree. So up front, it's David Traylor, Kevin Winker second, Braden Avila in third, Bill Hales fourth, Eric Hegdahl in fifth, Colton Hardy in sixth, Clinton Woodby back in seventh, Jesse Calloway in eighth, Jonathan Herbert in ninth, and Michael Miller rounding out your top 10. Traylor up 10 from where he started, but what you saw right there was a couple people coasting on the apron coming out of 4. I think we'll get the one to go right here, but maybe fuel is a little bit of a concern. It's hard to say, but we'll see if that changes the outcome of this race at all. Well, we heard from Kevin Winker earlier, your stage winner. How about the man that has been giving him the most trouble since? David Traylor in the 54. Let's see if we can bring David up here for a quick word before they go back green. Hey, David Traylor, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
10-4, I got you, Austin.
Well, man, it's been a solid run tonight. We see you over at Noma showing a lot of talent, and you're bringing that talent right over here tonight. It's the biggest race of the season. You got to think it's Daytona. How much would this mean if you could get the job done?
I mean, it'd be a huge relief to start the season with a W. And I think this league is one where it's a win and you're in. So it would make the rest of the season a lot less stressful. But I'll be honest, first place at Daytona, going to 2 or 3 to go, is probably the least ideal place you want to be. I know everybody behind me is gonna want to be here, so hopefully I can hold a straight line, and hopefully we can just get a good finish out of this for sure.
Well, we know there's probably going to be a move at some point. If you see a move, do you throw a block, or do you just try to maybe get down to the bottom as soon as you can on this restart and just try to stay there the rest of the way?
We're going to see what happens. I'm going to do some calculations if I see a move, and if I feel like I can block it and not spin out, then maybe I'll go for something crazy here.
All right, well, it's going to be fun to watch. We appreciate you giving us a quick word here just before the end. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll see if we see you in victory lane.
That's good. Thanks, Austin.
And we're going to move David back down to his proper team. That's what takes me a minute. I always say it, and I will continue to say it. It's always the hardest thing for me to get these guys back down to their teams before we get to the restart. But speaking of restart, not quite 2 to go. It's going to be a natural green, white, checkered +1. That is 3 laps to go. If we make it to the white flag, race will be official. David Traylor said it perfectly. A win at Daytona is one thing, and it's a win and you're in. You got to go for it. The time is now. Green flag is back in the air. Disorganized restart for both lanes. No help right now for the inside. Kevin Winker got the jump but doesn't have the help. Meanwhile, on the outside, the 2-truck tandem is alive and running for Bill Hales and the 54 of David Traylor. And as they try to stay ahead, they are already getting locked together on the bottom. But a little bit of blinking issue right there for Braden Avila. Now the 42 is going to jump up. Barely gets clear of David Traylor. What a move for Kevin Winker. He makes it stick, and now he's got the preferred lane. But don't look now, the bottom, the 11 truck, he's back. Eric Hegdahl has had a strong run now. He's going to push the 25 out in front. We saw Winker jump up. Does Avila think about doing the same? He's going to have to make it out of turn 4 if he wants to do it, because Kevin Winker, he's got the run and he's coming back. They're coming to 2 laps to go. Last lap for a caution if we're going to get one, and we're having bump and we're going to get one. They're wrecking in the trial. We'll back up the track. Huge hit for the 88. Jonathan Herbert's in it. More contact further out back. 11th caution of the night, and we will now officially head to your first overtime. Jonathan Herbert with the worst of it. He's smoking, and he's got to hope he's got a fast pair in his pocket. If he doesn't, his race is over. So comes out with 3 laps to go, just as we took 2 to go. Let's go back and take a look at this one. And they just started ping-ponging. I mean, you saw how tight they were in the trial. Well, you just kind of know at a certain point that it's only going to work for so long, and it finally did not work anymore. So here we go. Let's see how this starts. So the 51 is actually in the middle right here, trying to get a run. It looks like there's a hole at the moment. So that's TJ Allane. And as he gets to the middle, everything's fine here. Ooh, but he washes up just a little bit. You saw on the outside right there was the 4 of Jesse Calloway. So watch what happens here. As he starts to wash up, I mean, like I said, there's not much room to begin with. But once he washes up, he gets into Callaway. That sends it back down. Then he gets into the 88 of Herbert. And now he's just ping-ponging back and forth, trying everything to save it. Eventually here, it's going to turn the 4-truck around and down into the 88, who gets hooked hard into the outside wall. Everybody trying to miss it. The 18 gets spun and actually misses the brunt of the contact. But the 29 of Andrew Hansley, not really anywhere to go right there. Take a couple different angles of this one. First look here from TV3. I think this is going to show it a little bit better. As there's the ping pong, and then talk about it. Once you get turned, there's nothing you can do. It's a heavy, heavy hit for the 88 truck. You saw the smoke coming out the back, destroyed his truck. And then, oh, didn't see that initially, but William George, some hard contact back into the outside wall. Robert Dudley narrowly misses that one. Nature of the beast coming down to the end of these races, and it's starting to get messy, but nothing malicious, just a lot of hard racing. Again, they were 3 wide. There's not a lot of room at Daytona here like there is at Talladega. So sometimes when things start to get really tight, you just run out of room. That's what happened here. So anybody involved in that one is going to go for some repairs to the pits. And as I said, we are going to line them up here and try for our first overtime. I believe these guys all have 3 attempts. We'll get more confirmation on that if we need it, hoping we can complete it here in just 1. And so, as we said, with the 11th caution of the night, they are now on an average of more than 1 caution every 10 laps. But looking up front, it is Braden Avila being scored as your leader, so he'll get lane choice. Kevin Winker in 2nd, Eric Hegdahl in 3rd, David Traylor 4th, Colton Hardy in 5th. Bill Hales back in 6th with Clinton Woodby back in 7th, Rick LePage 8th, TJ Allane in 9th, and Michael Miller currently rounding out your top 10. See if maybe we can get one more interview here before we go back green. And I wanted to see if Braden Avila was around any of these channels saying, yeah, he is. Let's see if we can get a quick word with what is now your current leader. Hey, Braden, this is all set up in the booth. You got a copy?
I hear you.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're seeing a lot of lead changes here late in the race. A couple late cautions. Now we're into our first overtime. 2 laps to try to hold off the field at Daytona. How are you going to do it?
I just got to work together with my teammate behind me. Hope we can go to the front.
Well, we talked about earlier, we saw a lot of pit stops, but I'm just curious, are you good to go on fuel if we need these next 2 green-white checkers?
We are good to go on fuel.
All right, well, there you go. Perfect position. We'll see if you can come through with it. Thanks for giving us a quick word, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Good luck.
You go, Braden Avila. Another driver that sounds nice, calm, cool, and collected about it. Looking for, I say his first win on the season, but whoever wins tonight, it's going to be their first win on the season. It's been a great race up to this point. And for a green-white checker, let's remind you of the rules. We'll go around for 2 laps of racing. If they make it around 1 lap clean and take the white flag, the race will be official. However, if they wreck on that first lap and the caution is thrown, then we will rack them up and try it again. Certainly hoping, though, that we can get this thing wrapped up and won overtime, and hopefully we can get a nice, clean finish. Still a lot of trucks running, all things considered. Remember, we started with 34 trucks at the beginning of the night, and it looks like we still have about 23, if not a couple more running, a couple guys a lap down, and then of course probably about a handful of trucks out due to damage from being involved in incidents. You get 1 fast repair. A lot of people have had to use this so far, but if you're at the front right here and you still have one in your pocket, I think you have to obviously go for it. And Kevin Winker, you got to think maybe he's been the favorite all night, but I could beg to differ with what we're seeing right now from Braden Avila and what we've seen all night as well. And then you got guys a little bit further towards the back. The 77 of Michael Miller, 5th on the outside. We've seen him at the front. Watch for him to be the first to take it to the 3rd lane. David Traylor, he wants to get a win. You know, he's maybe going to think about making a move at some point. And then on the bottom, you got a phenomenal pusher in the 11 of Eric Hegdahl. It's going to be setting us up for a phenomenal 2-lap shootout. Thank you all again for coming out here tonight. I believe we peaked at about 32 viewers. That's pretty impressive for Friday night. But a good series usually brings a pretty good crowd, and all these drivers appreciate everybody tuning in to root them on here tonight. Don't forget, next week, going to head to Homestead, Miami for race number 2 for Season 5 of Asphalt Outlaw Racing. Man, these guys, they got a lot of crowd, too, in terms of, we already just said it a lap ago, but 34 trucks in the opening race. That is plenty impressive, and that's part of the reason you're going to see such good payouts at the end of the season, and that we're going to see competitive racing throughout the entirety of the season. But here we go, the 25 on the bottom. He is going to be in control of the field here. Kevin Winker on top. Got a good jump last time, but there was no connection between him and the truck behind him. We'll see if that changes now that he's got David Traylor and Bill Hales behind. You know, the 11 of Eric Hegdahl is going to be getting through the gears nice and smooth as well. All right, here we go. Pace truck going to pull off, hopefully for the final time here tonight at Daytona. Overtime number 1, 2-lap shootout to win it at the World Center of Racing. Green flag is back in the air. It's a good start again for this inside, but no organization. It's the outside that's already linked up. David Traylor quickly got to the back bumper of the 42 of Kevin Winker. Now Winker, maybe he was going to have a choice to drop in, not anymore. Big push going into turn number 1 as they climb the banking. The 54 is going to try to get tandem up with the 42 for the backstretch, but he gets disconnected. Now the bottom's going to start to roll. Watch it from the TV spotter view. And that inside, they've got to hold even right here. The first lap's the hardest lap to do it. All push, no give at this point in the race. But now the inside starts to surge again. Braden Avila trying everything he can to hold even. He's going to do it. Kevin Winker still on the outside. 3 on the bottom, 3 up top. No 3rd lane doing just yet. There's a lot of separation further back in the pack. But coming out of turn 4 into the short chute, we are going to see the white flag as they go 3 wide. 1 lap to go at Daytona. Who is going to win it? Up top, Bill Hales to the look. Nothing doing. Now we're going to see a second look. Kevin Winker throws the block. He throws another one. It doesn't work. Hard into the outside wall. His race is over as they wreck big out back. Winker's in it. Bill Hales is in it. And it's still a race between the front 2, maybe the front 4. Mark Beverly trying to get linked up with the 51 of TJ Allen. But right now, the 2-truck race is between the 25 and the 11. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not over just yet. Mark Beverly, he is going to have a run for out of turn 4. Question's going to be, what can he do with it? Does the 11 make a move? Eric Hegdahl, he has ran second just about all night. Mark Beverly looks high. Now he looks low. More contact out of turn 4 for the final time. They're wrecking out back. It's going to be a drag race between the 2 leaders. They get side by side, but at the line, it is going to be Braden Avila. No, Eric Hegdahl steals it. At the line, he got him by a nose. What a finish. Are you kidding me? Eric Hegdahl steals it at the line. I thought for sure when he got up the track, this thing was all over, but it wasn't. Eric Hegdahl stuck in it, got a side draft off of 4. Watch this move to win the race. Beverly gets a run with the 51 of TJ Allen. He tries to go high. The 11 goes to go with it, blocks low. Nothing doing there. Eric has to stay up, but then Mark Beverly gets turned from behind. They all wreck. Comes down to these two, and here you go. The 11 comes down, gets a little bit of a side draft, and look how close this was. Oh my goodness, that cannot be more than probably, wow. And the official finish that I'm showing is 1/100th of a second. What a win for Eric Hegdahl. I couldn't even tell from up here in the booth that he got this. Holy moly, let's take a look from the pit lane cam. And the 25, maybe if he stays low, he gets it, but that is already one of the best moves that I've seen in a while at a track like Daytona coming to the finish. And that is exactly how close it was. Let's see if we can get this thing frame by frame here. There you go. That is the final look of your finish. He gets it by just over a nose. Man, oh man, what a win for Eric Hegdahl. And so by getting the inaugural win here at Daytona to kick off the season, gets it done at the biggest stage in motorsports, but also he is going to have himself locked into the playoffs from what it sounds like. And so he is not going to have to stress the rest of the season. He'll be able to go out here and just try to capture some more trophies. What a finish that we saw here tonight. As he continues to burn it down, I'll tell you what, let's go see if we can take a look at your finishing results here. Your winner tonight, Eric Hegdahl. Coming in second was Braden Avila. TJ Allane finishes third. John Shileno in fourth. William George in fifth. Keith Prince in sixth. It's going to be Clinton Woodby in seventh with Evan Schilling in eighth. Mark Beverly finishes back in ninth. And it's Dennis Steele rounding out your top 10. Jesse Wise in 11th. Rick LePage in 12th. Going back, give me just a moment here. Going on back to 13. Sorry, I had to adjust the tower. It's Will Reinl. Sammy Davis in 14th. Robert Dudley in 15th. Andrew Hansley finishes in 16th with David Traylor in 17th. Joe Yakes rounding out the top 18th. Bill Hales in 19th. Jesse Calloway rounding out your top 20. Kevin Winker finishes 21st. It's Colton Hardy in 22nd. Michael Miller 23rd with Dylan Poss in 24th. Randy Gozy in 25th. Jonathan Herbert in 26th, Mike Wood Sr. in 27th. It's going to be Michael Newman in 28th, Nicholas Lawrence 29th, Lance Thompson rounding out your top 30. Roger Strickland finishes in 31st, Haas Beverly 32nd, Isaac Smallwood in 33rd, and Tyler Beverly rounding out the field tonight. He finishes in that 34th position. All right, we are going to go see if we can't find your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us to hear from your winner and more when we come back at Daytona. Back live at Daytona International Speedway. Going to start first tonight with your third place finisher, TJ Allane. TJ, this is Austin in the booth. Got a copy.
Austin, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Well, you bring home a podium. It was a roller coaster of a night, but towards the end, you started to find the rhythm. You make it through the last lap chaos. Kind of take us through that last lap, and then we saw a wreck out of 4. Was there anything you could have done different to maybe have a shot at the win there?
Well, you know, we caution there that brought out the last one when I had went to go 3 wide, and I felt like the 88 had pushed us up into the wall, which brought out that wreck. But I honestly, man, I was just trying to hold on. I didn't even. It was the draft that was keeping me there. My car was so messed up. I'm just glad that I was able to get third. I was doing everything I could to just finish this race, and we managed to get third. And then William George, he got 5th, so we got top 5 for both of us.
When it comes to motorsports, we know how important momentum is. You bring home a top 3 at a track like Daytona. We head to Homestead, Miami next week. How are you going to carry this momentum over to there?
Oh, look to see us running that wall, man. It's we don't necessarily like the super speedways because of all the chaos, but man, when you can get us on those intermediate tracks, when you can actually get us some separation and there's multiple groups to be able to get around those places, really breaks out some great racing and hopefully less cautions.
Absolutely. Well, before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to shout out Pete Polini. He was our crew Chief last night and tonight. I want to shout out the Sweet Fire Tobacco crew that's watching. My roommate Bob, roommate William George. I want to shout you out for throwing the broadcast on. And I want to give it up to the Asphalt Outlaw guys. This is our first year with the guys. To be able to get a solid finish at one of the most chaotic races that you can have, it's going to bring some good momentum for this season, hopefully.
Well, a good start to your first season indeed. We appreciate you talking to us, TJ, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, Austin. Have a good one, and it's always good talking with you.
Absolutely. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking to him next week. He feels good there, and he's already got momentum on his side. Good third-place finish for TJ. Moving on to your second-place finisher here tonight, it's Braden Avila. Braden, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
I hear you.
Well, you come up one spot short and an absolute thriller to the finish. Official gap was exactly 1/100th of a second. I mean, did you think you had him? And I mean, what could you have done differently?
I pretty much just let him side draft me. That was the big thing there coming out of 4. But no, I mean, what else do you really ask for? We're coming to these races just a shot at the win. So.
Well, you make it through the last lap wreck. Now, we know speedways in general are a little bit chaotic, but we still head to, I believe, 2 or I think we head 3 more times to a super speedway later this season. How do you carry a good finish like this on to Talladega and then Legacy Daytona later in the season?
It's just all about being up front the whole race and being able to control the lanes and stay out front the whole race.
Well, you did just that. One of the best pushers tonight, one of the best leaders, and you come so close. Before we let you head out, though, is there anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
I just would probably thank Eric, really, and Isaac Smallwood. It was just us 3 in the Mopow chat tonight. So, yeah, a lot of good times in there all the time. So.
We appreciate you talking to us. Congrats again on the second-place finish, and we will see you next week at Homestead. All right, and now that is going to bring us to your winner tonight, Eric Hegdahl. Eric, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, buddy, I got you.
Well, this is my first broadcast here, and I'm already so excited for the next race. I almost can't wait. You squeak it out at the line by 1/100th of a second. I didn't even think you had it. It was so close. How did you manage to pull the upset coming off of turn 4 all the way to the start-finish line?
Yeah, I don't really know. I didn't think I had that big of a run initially coming off of 4, but it just kind of worked out. I don't know what happened coming to the white. I know the outside lane got taken out, and me and Braden, we were in the same Discord and everything working together, and I thought we were going to be okay, and then I saw Mark coming with a big run, and entering turn 3 or 4, I blocked, and I saw he was going to get there, and I went back high, and then I don't know what happened to Mark, but he got wiped out. And yeah, off of turn 4, I just had a weird surge that got me a little bit more momentum, but able to race it out the line.
Well, winning you're in, and you did just that tonight. You also win the biggest race on the schedule. Talked about momentum with a couple of the other finishers here tonight, but it's got to be the highest for you. Next week we head to Homestead. How you feeling about your chances to go back-to-back?
I don't know. I feel pretty good. I won Homestead last season, so definitely a little bit of confidence, but that was in an Xfinity car, so it's going to be a little bit different with the truck, obviously, but looking forward to it. I'll be getting wrecked on lap 1 and spending some time in the back to get the win tonight. It's pretty cool.
Certainly was. Well, before we let you head out and enjoy your victory tonight, is there anyone you would like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, shout out to the Beverleys for putting on a great league. Shout out to Braden, my teammate, able to race it to the line side by side. That's always cool. Sonic Graphic Design, they painted my truck. And shout out to you for putting on a great broadcast tonight. I had it playing in the background, and you did awesome. So shout out to you, and see you next week.
Appreciate you talking to us. And indeed, we will see you next week. Go celebrate. You are a winner at Daytona.
Thank you, buddy.
There you go, Eric Hegdahl. Man, what a finish. I still can't get over what we saw here tonight. It was a great race, but with that, that's just about going to wrap up our coverage tonight for the winning Bid 250. We'll be back next week for some action at 1.5 miles Homestead Miami Speedway. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you back next week, and until then, have a good night.